Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with and talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
How do I want to answer the second one?
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Speedway. We've got Devin Board with us.
At Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep.
April 8th, 2024. What's going on? We are the Turn 2 Terribles. Sorry we were a little late. Had a couple technical difficulties, but we're here. We got a jam-packed show for you. We got not one, but two guests. Some weeks we have like no guests. Now we have two. But this is a great week for it. We got Matt Campbell on the show. Great to have him back. P2 yesterday at Lincoln. We're going to talk about that and some more. And then we also got late model driver Jake Moser joining us after. He also finished P2 at BAPS over the weekend. We'll talk to him, get to know him a little bit more. And then we'll also recap the rest of the weekend, Port Royal, World of Outlaws, and then we'll preview the upcoming week. It's going to start to get busy. You got High Limit back, World of Outlaws, and of course here it's picking up with 3-day weekends here in PA. So, fellas, how are you guys doing?
Man, hyped for tonight. Excited. It's hard to not get in and want to discuss what we watched this weekend, but the guys we're about to have on, I was at both of those shows, so we'll kind of talk a little bit about that and do a recap after. But great weekend. Got to get to racetrack twice this weekend, and beautiful weather today outside. It makes it almost starting to feel like spring. What was your weekend like, Chris? Did you get to see any racing this weekend?
I saw it on Path Valley's Facebook page and Flow Racing with Port Royal while I was fishing. Did not catch any fish. Did not see any racing. Tough weekend. But here I am. Ready to go, guys.
All right, man.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for everybody joining us in the chat. We see Santos here, tuned in for the fourth week in a row. Love what y'all do. Thank you. We love that you guys tune in. Yes, we did survive the eclipse. I didn't see any of it because it was too cloudy and rainy here. But Tyler just got done with his racing roundup. Thank you. Nice shirt. I just got it. And then Matthew Bird. I got to hang out with him in kind of what Victory Lane on Saturday at Port Royal. It was nice meeting you. Brad Weatherby, guys, thanks for tuning in. Don't want to delay it any longer, though. Glad to have this guest back. Almost perfect timing. Let's bring him on. Matt Campbell, ladies and gentlemen. Matt, how are you doing?
Evening, guys. Thanks for having me on.
There he is. What's up, Matt?
Finally got the camera situation figured out, so hopefully it's all smooth from here, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
Looks good. Appreciate you coming in, man. We planned this out before the race yesterday, and listen, it's something about turn two terribles and winning. Man, you had a hell of a race car. We'll talk a little bit about how the season's gone here in a minute, but tell me about yesterday because I know what I observed. I got to hear a little bit of your interview while I was in Victory Lane, but it's hard to hear in the infield. It sounded like you said you like day racing. Are you crazy, or did I hear that wrong?
No, I'm all about it. I am. Like, yes. So like yesterday, it did get rubber down pretty bad, but that didn't really happen until like the end though. Like I noticed like early, even till like the halfway point, it wasn't too bad. It was just the end, which you're gonna see probably happen when the sun's shining like that and the weather is as good as it was. But no, I'm all for them. I think when it gets slick all the way to the wall, but if like they had earlier in the year with the day shows, on the bottom you can still race it. Like 2 lanes of racing like that where it's wide and you can get into having like a slide job battle. Like, I think the racing's great. If you look at the earlier day shows at Lincoln this year, guys were up front who won, but there was a lot of passing like up front and through the whole field. And like I said in another Jeremy's interview, and nothing beats getting done, going back, washing while it's daylight left, and then you can still go out and do something afterwards on your Saturday night.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Going home at the time we did was like refreshing already. I don't feel like it's only April and I'm already like, man, I'm not looking forward to those midnight drive homes. Like I'm already kind of over it. It's April already. So the more day racing, the better, in my opinion. Even if we have some shitty heat races, we've had a great feature, and I've been saying this week after week when we have these day racing, and it's like in Fred we trust, right? Because I feel like he just has such a grip on what that track can be, what it can do, what he can do in a short amount of time, and he's just gotten it figured out for these features. So you said it took rubber. Where did it take rubber?
It was actually like the middle top of 1 and 2. We were running up high there early. I think I saw Chase was running up there with me too. It's kind of up against the wall like we were in 3 and 4. At the end, we were still running up there in 3 and 4, but it was like a rubber strip kind of just above the middle in 1 and 2. And I think that's where a lot of guys were running. And there at the end, I saw he moved down there, then I moved down when I saw the color in the track, and it was a lot better than running up against the fence. So, other than that, it was kind of like too slick yesterday to run the bottom. But if you look at the other shows there, honestly, like I think that it was maybe opening day, or I can't remember which one that was. But, for the most part, it was racy. Now, I know like I've been at like the Grove and stuff like that, like their opening day show, and it does like suck to pass and stuff like that sometimes. But I just think like Fred gets it pretty good at Lincoln to where a day show can actually be fun to race in, and I think that's why I have that opinion.
Yeah, no, I can't I can't agree any more than that, because we've seen it consistently in the last few years. This year we've had more day racing, longer in the year with times moving and early season racing. And even if we don't have great heats, like I said, it's phenomenal features. And yesterday, what I loved the most was it was time trials. You had more control in your hands as a driver from the first lap on the racetrack to the last lap on the racetrack, versus a bad draw or a handicap putting you behind in the heats where the heats aren't great. And then you're running from the back in the feature where you're like, hey, I had a lot of fun. I passed cars, but I started 17th. You get a little bit more control in your hands. So at the end of that feature, you had to see Chase in front of you. Was he getting bigger and bigger and bigger? Did you feel like, hey, give me 5 more laps? Or like, did you ever get to that point where you're like, hey, I got something here?
Hard to say. Really, if I was just hoping there at the end, really my only chance I would have had on Chase, because if I tried to slide him, he probably would have just checked up a little, turned the car, drove, kept his momentum going right past me. My only chance was to try to get to him and just do a surprise on turn 3 in the last corner, last lap, and just kind of try to guess Chase off guard. I was trying to run him down, and it was like the last lap. Like I went through 1 and 2, and I knew there was just like nothing. I wasn't close enough, so I just kind of went through 3 and 4 easy. I'm like, don't put it in the wall in the last corner. We're running second. Like, let's take it home that way. But yeah, for when I was able to like get in clean air there, I felt like I was slowly chipping away at him. But he did his job as the race leader and kept a good gap between me and him, and that's what put him there in victory lane, not me. So. I'm happy with the speed that the car had. And, I feel like I've made like less mistakes than I did like earlier in the year. I feel like I'm not making them as much anymore. Kind of knocking that rust off. But, overall, I'm really, if you ask anybody like Steve, Steven, Ethan, all the guys, Bernie, like everyone's happy right now. We can't ask for much more.
So let's talk about that team a little bit because, I feel like I'm connected to the sport a little bit. I get in the pits a lot. I know these names. How did this deal come about, right? I think we saw it at Racing Extravaganza, and you were pretty quiet in the all season. You kind of got a little banged up in the fall, you recovering, and you come out here Racing Extravaganza with this beautiful, beautiful race car with all these sponsors and names and teams. So tell me a little bit about how that came about and how did you get involved with it?
Well, I met Bernie through Steve last year, and this was all a talk with Steve, Bernie, me. Like, kind of, it was a talk about kind of putting this deal together. And then when I had my injury and I was out, it was still like full steam ahead with it. Even while I was still injured at the time, I still was not working. We were kind of already getting things ready for that. We knew that's what we wanted to do. So, yeah, it's kind of like a big group effort between all of us. Everybody's putting a bunch in to make this happen. And, I can't ask for a better group of guys to do it with, because I tell you what, it's been fun like every race this year so far. I feel like we got, we got great stuff. We got a great crew, got a great crew chief, really kind of have all the elements there we need. We just, it's up to us to make it work. And, I think me and Steve's a good dude, and we're getting along, and friends on and off the track. And I talk his ear off all the time every day. But Steve raced, and I kind of gel with him on that because he, when I tell him certain stuff that some guys like, it may not pick up, like he's able to pick it up, and he's like, oh, I've done that, I've felt that, like, and I think it's a big help because he will go back and even like he watches like video and he can kind of even tell stuff. We run a GoPro on the car and he's like, oh, I can see what car's doing here and there. Cause he's like, I've lived it. I've done it. So, I think it's, we're happy with how it's going so far. Really, we've like told everyone it's like 0 expectations. Like, when I went out opening day, like some guys are like, oh, let's go like win and like this and that. We always like, with how I was the last time here, let's roll it in the trailer on the same wheels and tires, and I'm happy, like no matter what happens. And that's kind of how we've been with it so far. Like Steve was saying, like let's run 24th for opening day. So I think we were up to 20th for yesterday's race. So I guess we're going to try for 19th next week and see how we do.
So yeah, I love what Tyler asked here. Actually, Jimmy usually does fan questions, but I think it's a great, perfect time for this question. You can read it there. How the hell did you get Bernie Beard to put a wing on something and be okay with it?
I don't know. That's a question for Bernie. I never really asked him. He's just, like I said, it's Bernie and Steve, and I'm helping as much as I can too. And Bernie's having fun with it. Steve's having fun with it. Both them guys, they did the Thunder cars, late models. They've kind of done everything, but it is sprint car country around here. It's late. You got the late models around here too, but it's primarily a big sprint car area. And what else to run around here,
Yeah, 100%. So not to switch gears too far here, but and this is just a week ago, you broke out your own car. So Williams Grove broke that out. Good looking race car again. The black and green is back. Not that it really went anywhere, I guess. But how did your first night go there? That was an interesting surface for sure. So again, the results may not. I mean, I forgot already where you ended up. So go through that night a little bit. How did that go? Getting back in your own stuff.
I think we were like ended up like 12th or 13th or something, started like 18th. I mean, like some guys dropped out. I think like we passed like 2-3 cars, but we were trying to figure out that frame. I never really ran that one before, and it's an older used car, so really like same thing like Lincoln opening day standards. I was like, with that being like my deal, especially, I'm like, I just wanted to like roll in the box and we kind of get some notes and see how we can improve, because it's gonna same thing with even the X car. Like we're still not quite where we want to be yet. It's gonna take a couple weeks to figure out what exactly we want to do with the car and what because tires change everything, and also figuring out what we want to do with this frame and the surface and everything we got going on with the car.
I think his screen fell asleep.
I was hoping it was us.
No. It froze up a little bit on him. Give it a second, see if it comes back.
We screenshot that look right there, though. So, listen, while he gets that recovered, I like it's super interesting to hear that. They're having a good time with it. There aren't expectations. And sometimes I feel like that no pressure kind of thing loosens you up a little bit. It's not because they all care, they all give a shit, they all want to go do well, but at the same time, there aren't these like, "Hey, we're going to go win out of the box or else." I think that's a good thing. I think that those expectations, obviously, they continue to run well. I think those expectations will change some, and hopefully, they can continue this having a good time thing, because the more that we interview drivers and interview teams and people, the more it says, "Hey, winning solves a lot of problems." But as soon as that little bit of negativity falls within the ranks, right? Your friends, it becomes this. You go into the other side quickly, and it snowballs. Bad results turn into arguments. Bad results turn into people just irritated, and it's late, and all these things, and it can spiral. So, I think none of it. Like Matt is a guy who's not making a living driving a race car.
Right.
So, like, let's have fun with it, right? We
Yeah.
have expectations. We're competitive, and I get it. I'm as competitive as anybody else, and I want to do well at everything I do. But it's still, let's go have some fun. It's an expensive freaking sport. Let's try to take care of the equipment and see what we can put on the racetrack as far as a product. And man, I'll tell you what. I'm talking about Lincoln on Sunday. I felt like I lost track of who was where because it went green to checkered, and I lost track of who was. I knew what Chase was leading. I could barely see the scoreboard. I didn't know if it was accurate or not, and I was like, there was a blank spot on the scoreboard. I'm like, who the hell's in second? Well, they don't have an X character for second place on the scoreboard, so it was blank. Then I realized it was Matt, and he's running and running. And I'm like, damn, they're almost lapping up to 10th place. Like Chase lapped up to the top 10.
Wow.
And it was a full field.
Yeah.
And then not that many cars wrecked out. I think 2 cars maybe pulled in during the deal. So, they were setting such a fast pace, and it was like, damn, there goes Chase, and Matt's not far behind. So like he was there, and Danny came through past a few cars, and Aaron was there, but at the end of the day, like it was those two, in my opinion, were like head and shoulders out in front of the field, and Matt was better than Chase at the end of that race for sure. Chase ran a hell of a good race. He did everything he had to do. I'm not taking anything away from him, but we have Matt here tonight, not Chase. So
Right.
where I'm going with that is like that's a hell of a run for them to come through the field and do what they did on that surface, because there were definitely cars struggling, figuring out where to be, what to do, how aggressive to be. I talked to a driver today, and it was kind of like, 3 and 4, they could be pretty aggressive, this driver, and they were like in 1 and 2. I felt like I was walking on eggshells. Just didn't have that aggressiveness I needed in 1 and 2. And I watched Chase make sliders and ran the top and ran the bottom and diamond it off. Chase could do whatever he wanted, and the car would go. Well, Matt was faster than him at the end of that race, so that tells you how good a car he had. So it was definitely fun. It was tricky. It was I think it was challenging for the guys. And again, the rubber may have gotten there, but it didn't turn it into, unfortunately, what we saw at Port Royal, right? Where everybody ran the same line.
Mm.
It was still very diverse. At least I was standing 1 and 2, and I saw 3 or 4 different lines being ran, by the same group of cars. So it was was definitely interesting. Emmett, Danny Dietrich's boy, won a big wheel race.
Oh, someone had to do it since Seth can't win anymore.
Yeah, winning just stays in the family. It skipped Seth's generation, apparently.
I wanted to circle back, though, something I thought interesting with Matt, talking about, obviously, he had the injury at the end of last year, getting back to track. That had to be tough, first time back there. Having to focus, like, get in their rhythm. He had a whole offseason of rehab, basically. So it's cool to see him progress each week. And, it's building that confidence, not just with the team, but as a driver. And I think, like you said, the expectations will keep climbing because he's just going to get more comfortable. And we know he's got speed. He had speed every time he's hit the track. So even back to last year.
Yeah, and following what he's done last year, it was one of the deals where he would flash and be like, damn, Matt drove and he was hard charger again. And it was like, if this guy could start in the top 5 somewhere, he's going to win races. And it just never could put that whole thing together, whether it was a handicap, couldn't get out of the heat, right? Had to start at the back of the feature or run the B. Time trial night, he had a bad draw and the track fell off. Like, it just all seemed to kind of work together Sunday where, time trials to heats to a good redraw. There he is.
Matt, you're back.
Sorry about that.
All good.
Hey, I jinxed it when I said we're not going to have any more problems. Well, if you don't know, I'm like one of the guys with the worst luck in the pit area. And that's like what's funny how you're talking about like pill draw events and stuff like that. Like, yeah, no, I don't have any luck with that either.
Yeah, so like we were kind of talking about it, like Sunday was kind of like a good perfect storm where you time trialed well, you got to start up front, you got through the heat, a good draw for the feature. Was it a redraw or was it straight up after the heats?
It was a redraw after the heat. Yeah.
Okay. But like it all sort of came together for you to compete and go look for a win. So, if you're competing at Lincoln weekly, where do you stand as far as a handicap? If they handicap next week, where do you start in the heat? Do you know?
I guess I can't remember how they do it now because they kind of change it every couple of years at all tracks.
Yeah,
I think it's like they do like based off money earned. Like it's not points; it's like based off money earned over the last like 3 races. So I guess with our last 3 being a 6th, a 3rd, and a 2nd, they'll probably start me in the back somewhere.
You'll be starting in the back.
Yeah, they're gonna make me come from the tail. Yeah,
and that's the hard part about that is like, hey, I know I have a good car. I know I got a good team. I feel like I'm on my game. You start 6th, 7th, 8th in the heat, you miss the setup by that much, or the track's really narrow. Like, what is that next step that do you feel you need to take, or is it like, hey, I just need to get the setup right to overcome those nights, right? Where we've seen Freddie miss out on that sometimes, right? We had to run a B last weekend. No, Williams Grove had to run the B main. Where I think that next step is like a guy like Freddie, right? Where he handicaps to the back of a heat. To even get a chance to start near the front, he has to go move up into that spot. And then he gets handicapped again for the feature. What do you think it's going to take for you to get to that level? Is it kind of like, hey, I got to take more chances? Or is it like, hey, look, it is what it is. Hopefully if it goes my way, I'm good. Or do you feel like it's, hey, I just got to be on my setup and on my game from minute 1?
I think the big thing we get the setup right where we basically got to be able to move around in the heat. You can't be tight. You got to be able to be free, but also be driving. And I think that's the biggest thing is, and then also kind of, hit your marks right. Like when I'm in the back like that, all I can really do is kind of hold back going in the first turn and kind of see what opens up and where I can go. And that's pretty much all you can do when you're starting all the way in the tail of the heat. But when you got the car right and you can get past some guys, and you can take advantage of those spots when you can, especially when it's like, you see the fast heat races where like once everyone gets settled in, you can't pass. Like right there, like when any spot opens up, if you can take it, you got to try to go for it. And there's going to be those nights where, we might have to run from a B, or we're going to have to come from 20th. But our thing is we're trying to get the car right to where I can come from the back like that. Like you've seen guys like Freddie do that like all the time last year. Like I know he had a lot of good front spots they start, but if you started him in the back, he was able to come up through. I think that's like our goal. We want to be able to be like a top 5 car. That's kind of like our goal to get to is like not right now, but like that's our goal to get to is like even if we got to come from all the way in the back, like last, we can be 24th. We want to be able to in 30 laps come up and be a top 5 car. I think that consistency too will help if we're running all the races there. So we're basically, we are going for the points. So that'll make a big difference with that.
Jimmy, Chris, what do you got?
Go ahead, Jimmy.
We got a couple comments from the audience here. From Santos, question for Matt. He's been with a couple different car owners over the past couple of years. What feels different about this deal versus others in the past?
I'm really comfortable with these group of guys. Like I said, I'm friends with Steve now for a year and a half before this even came together, and I'm becoming good friends with Bernie out of it too. But the thing is like this deal is it's got a lot of good people backing it, and I think it's one of those things where it already feels good from the start. And talking to all the guys involved, it's known we want it to be a long thing. We want this to be a long-lasting deal. So, you never know what happens in this sport, and obviously things can change in the drop of a hat, if anybody's situation. But our goal is to kind of make this one that lasts, and that's kind of what when we went into this and started it, what we want to do, and that's why I went this route with these guys, because I see a really good future with this team. For all of us. Like, I think this is going to be something where, it's fun for us and the families to do. And, I think we can make something out of it that can be long lasting and maybe do some damage here.
He also asked, any new X car merch, because the car is beautiful. And where did
it's getting worked on. Oh, we got the hats up there and we got decals, and I know we'll have like shirts coming, maybe like select on sweatshirts because we are going into summer, but then it'll just be like that stuff will like come out like later summer, stuff like that. But yeah, it is in the works. I know it's like I'm usually a little late out the gate with it, but if we get established and this is like a thing that I stay with this team for a long time, like then I'm going to be on top of it all the time.
Well, what are you doing all winter? All you got to do is sit around and let your ankle heal. Jeez, Matt, let's get together, buddy.
Well, honestly, we didn't even have the final rendering for the car till about a week before the show, and then was about a month out. Same with my car. Like my car, I finalized it. I finalized it on the Friday before the Grove, and then I was still calling Dustin on Saturday saying, hey, sorry, I just sold this spot, so I need you to print this guy too. So stuff was changing fast, but it is in the works and it will be here soon.
So speaking of that, shout out to Dustin and his crew and his team. Tell us a little bit about what they've done for you this season, because first of all, I don't want to whatever. Did they design the X car as well?
That was all Dustin. Yeah.
Shout out to their crew. Shout out those guys, Dustin and Jim Chianos. Give me the company's names again. The people that I forgive me.
Yeah. So it's I know it's Posseland Apparel, and it's Apparel and Graphic. And I thought Jim's was a part of that, but I might be wrong.
I know he's sort of involved there a little bit with Dustin.
Yeah. Them guys are.
Yeah. So big fans of mine. I appreciate them very much. Jim and Dustin are both big fans of what I do and the little bit I contribute to what y'all do. And man, if they design some of those cars, like that X car with the chrome wheels and buddy, like we talked about this at Williams Grove. Actually, you and I talked about this in the pits at Williams Grove. You have your black, red, chrome, and you have your black, green, black. It's like they're the same, but they're completely opposite looks and styles, and they're both super cool looking.
Yeah, so real quick, it is. So James does have it. His thing is the 410 designs, but I know him and Dustin do a lot together. They with both the Beer Hill gang and doing stuff with that. I know I think Dustin helps out Jim a bunch with the merch, and shout out to Jim too. He's made some killer hats for me, and I think we got some coming for the 16 here soon. I know I'm not gonna do like I don't know about shirts. I was thinking like maybe like a dual design shirt or something like that. I'm not sure yet. But mostly it'd be like X stuff. But he killed the car, and that's kind of what I had the idea with too. I was like, hey, what with my car? And he's like, well, why don't we do just a color swap? I'm like, I think it's a great idea because sitting side by side and the cars are gonna look great. I mean, I knew when I saw it like on the X and saw it in red, I'm like, well, that green's gonna look awesome, and it did. Like it looked so much better in person than it even like online, and even like when I saw the render, and like it still didn't even do it justice to like what it is in person. And a little bit different shade of green he used this year. I love that car. I'm obsessed with it. It's one of probably going to go down as one of my favorite 16s.
Yeah, for sure. When I saw it sitting there and saw the rendering, or I forget what I saw first of it, I was like, oh, okay. It has very much a Matt Campbell feel to it, but I'm like, this is cool. Like with the X and the 60, I mean, if you're driving two different cars, I think you have probably the best combo of two cars. If there's somebody in the pits driving multiple rides, you might be the guy with the top combo of the year. Like I'm a white car fan, but man, there's some good looking black race cars this year. I got to be honest, and yours are at the top of the list for me. So you make it easy on what the little part that I do. You make it easy for sure. Jimmy, what's up?
Got a couple more fan questions before we let you go here. From Randy, how many races are you running at the Grove? And I also want to ask, are you planning on running anything outside of Williams Grove and Lincoln?
So really right now, no, it's just going to be Williams Grove and Lincoln. I mean, if we get to run them really good and Bernie and Steve want to do something, maybe hit something a little different, I'm going to be all for it. But I knew that's what we talked about we want to start with this year, and that was our plan. We kind of talked about, we'll see about next year what we do, but I know for like this season, it was just kind of strictly Lincoln with that. And then my deal was like 10 races. I kind of picked a little bit of everything. So, and they are like spaced out until like the end of the year. And then you kind of see more races closer together. But with it being only 10, I kind of had to make it work to where we didn't just run a bunch and then we're sitting. So like our next race, I think it's the 19th of this month. It's like 2 weeks from now. Just kind of picked a couple different things at the Grove, a little bit of Outlaws, a little bit of, I'm running both Speed Week. Picked some just normal races even in there, like some handicap races, because it's good races to get to and just experiment with the car, try to figure different stuff out there. But, I mean, it gets to running pretty good, and we'll see what we can do. I mean, it might grow. I mean, it might add an extra like 2 or 3 in there. It's hard to say. Just going to have to see how it's looking once we start getting into the season a little bit more.
This is the third time now it's been in the comments. I didn't get to it. That Ravens and Orioles fan, and also Seth Miller, what is your opinion on your number one fan, Seth?
He's a good kid. He was hanging out. He's never been able to come into pits. I guess he wasn't of age yet, and he came and he hung out at the trailer. We let him come hang out at the trailer so he'd never done nothing like that before, and he was hanging out with the whole crew and stuff all night, and he seemed like he had a great time. He was always right before I walked out. He was always like, "Go get him," and stuff like that, and like trying to like be like my hype man, like in the corner. But no, he's a good kid, good kid.
That's awesome.
And then Aunt Bay here, thoughts on the 1-inch wicker bill.
Okay, I'll put my opinion out. I don't care. I get people talking. Honestly, I don't really get it. I mean, I don't see cost savings. It's a piece of aluminum. And if you ask me, I think in traffic, the 2-inch makes it a little better in traffic to race. Kind of locks the car down a little bit. But I mean, we're making it managed right now. But it was just kind of when I read that day, I was like, what is this about? I was like, I don't know where that came. It was like out of the blue. Like I was like, that came out of nowhere. I mean, lie on anything. We picked it. We want to change. You picked that, but I guess.
Yeah, and I've never heard anyone. I've never heard anybody come out and say, "Hey, this is because of cost saving." No one has actually said, "Here's the origin as to why." Not one person. Every other move they make in the sport feels like it's either for safety or cost savings.
I mean, honestly, I can go to Ace Hardware and build you one of those for like probably $20 worth of aluminum.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, but no one has said, I haven't heard anybody from any sanctioning body say this is why. Like, I would love the explanation. It was just, this is what we're doing. But why?
Yeah.
Why? All right. The discussions weren't with you guys, clearly.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that because I know there used to be like I remember back in the day there was always like they had like meetings like every winter and stuff, talk to everybody. I don't think they've done that for a couple of years now.
Listen, people that run tracks are smarter than you guys who drive cars, okay? That's just what it comes down to.
I just drive my car, I show up and drive my car. I got to play by the rules I got just like everybody else, so it's what it is. Hey, like I said, we're making it managed so far, so
that's it. Everybody's going to, right? You're all going to. You're all
going to have to adapt. It's just like the tires. We had to adapt.
No doubt.
Troy Savage out of New Zealand. Thanks for tuning in. Says you have the fastest mold in the country. Agree or disagree?
Okay.
Yeah, I need a haircut. I was telling them guys, I was like, man, second ain't good enough. I said, if I win, maybe I'll have money to go and get a haircut. On my race car.
If you want to get your haircuts because of a mullet, it's time now. It was time 2 years ago, buddy. Like
the crew guys are like, "We'll give me a buzz cut." I'm like, that probably worse. No, like just let this go. It's working right now. So I mean, like
there you go. Exactly.
Yeah, right? The luck's changing a little bit. I might let it ride.
Sounds good.
Chris.
That answered all the questions between him and Jeremy. They answered all the questions I would have had. I'm looking forward to watching you all season, and I think it's just going to keep building on your speed all year. So I'm excited to follow along for both teams.
So Troy Savage, is he New Zealand? We confirmed this, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So Troy Savage, if you come to the U.S. and Matt wins, you get to cut his hair in victory lane. No, I'm not saying that for Matt. I'm just kidding. But listen, that's a big commitment. You fly over here and Matt wins.
Not cordless cutters, man. I mean, if Troy's that committed,
how can you say no at that point?
He said, Matt's in. There you go, Troy. You just got to make a
motivation.
Hopefully, you're not on the same visa program James McFadden's on. Santos, put that up. This one I do know, but Matt can probably answer this one.
Oh, that was Bernie's race.
Where does number X come from?
That's Bernie Beard. That's what he ran forever, right? So there's two pretty famous names in Central PA that ran the X, right? Bernie Beard, Bobby Weaver. Those are the two, and they were two different divisions. Now we've crossed over and brought the stock car division X into the sprint car world X. It's not related to the Bobby Weaver X that ran in sprint cars. So we've come full circle here. You look after me? Exchange rate isn't good. You have to put them up in the house.
Hey, we're struggling over here too, man. Times are tough.
We probably asked you this on the last time you were on, but we may not have heard it. We may never got there. I don't remember. Someone you love racing with, somebody who's a pain in your ass. Give me one of each.
So, I think it's the same one I said last time. Danny Dietrich. I'll race against him any day. Always racing me clean. If you guys were watching like the day show there, I think it was the last day show that we had at Lincoln, where like we just went at it back and forth for laps.
Yeah,
it was just back and forth. Then I got away from him. Then we went back and forth again. Always leaves me room. Danny, I don't care what anybody says. Danny's always left me room. He's always raced me respectful.
And he seems like a guy, like the more time goes on, Danny seems to me like the racer that if he gets done wrong, he's going to come back harder than what he got, right? If you race him, he'll race. He'll leave your room. He'll be clean. But if you want to race him hard and you want to race him a little bit dirty, you want to really cut it tight, he's going to give it back because he's good enough to do it. So I feel like over time, I'm starting to not that I'm starting to learn that, but like he doesn't have to do it to make a pass. But if somebody does him wrong, man, you're gonna get it. So I can see that for sure.
Yeah, I think he races guys how they race him. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a lot of the guys out here.
Yeah.
Like what I've noticed. So, I mean, I always try to leave everybody room. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I feel like I tend to kind of, if I know like I'm not gonna like clear somebody, I try to drag some brake in the middle of the corner and just leave them like enough of a room where if you want to take it, it's about a car length wide enough for you to get through. If you want to take it, you can take it. You know, that it's there. I'm not gonna pinch you, but I'm also not gonna just leave the door wide open either. But if I know I'm not gonna clear you, I'm just gonna ride the brake and let you go by because it's not worth it to just wad stuff up. You know,
What if it was Chase and turn 4 this past weekend?
I would have left him room. I mean, I would have thrown it in there and tried to slow his speed up. That would have been my goal. But if I knew I wasn't clearing him, I would have just had to drag brake. It would have been no different than how I finished yesterday as it was. You know, if I had the opportunity to go for it, I feel like I probably would have really just had to drive it in there hard. And I probably would have been clearing over that point. But then again, too, probably when it had been sliding sideways, lost my speed, and he would have been able to turn and get under me. All I could have done was hope that I caught him off guard. That would have been the only thing I had for him.
Yeah, we don't want Corey Haas running across the track at you. Okay, we don't want that. Okay. All right. Who's the pain in the ass to race with? Give me the other one. Now again, it doesn't mean you have to dislike them.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. You know, guys are typically hard to pass. I'm trying to think like this year because I know I said Freddie last year, but I haven't really raced around him a bunch this year. I'm trying to think of somebody fresh. Like who's been like good this year?
You had a pretty good battle, I think, earlier this year with Devin, didn't you? Did you have a pretty good battle with Devin earlier this year?
No, I don't. I don't think I haven't really been around him a lot either.
I felt like he slid you in 3 and 4 one of the early shows. I thought I had a picture of that. Somebody, who was that?
He did went. So I went. Well, there's one right there. Gerard. I was racing. He's usually not at Lincoln, but that show where I was racing with Danny, I was. I was racing with Gerard, and just he struggling to pass him. It was just like I was hard racing with him, like Danny. But it was, it was just harder, a little harder racing against him. But
that boy had that wing back. It was like a parachute. He was going to stick no matter what he did.
Yeah,
the car was wide that day. I was impressed with GMAC that day, to be honest. He hasn't ran Lincoln in a long time.
No, he usually doesn't.
Yeah, and he did a really nice job. He got to start up front, which is great, and it was a daytime, slow and slick kind of. So that was a fun race that day, to be honest. That was fun to watch too. The straightaway seemed really slick, but it seemed like you could move into corners a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, like on Sunday, just yesterday, it got a little worse than it did that day. But also, you got to remember there was overcast that whole day. Yesterday, the sun was freaking ripping on it. So if the sun's out like that, it's gonna happen. But props to Fred because it stayed pretty good for the whole feature.
Most of
it. And you could when it's 70 in the sunshine, you can't ask for much more than that. You could pass cars. I mean, looking at the stat, like Danny came up through. I think Freddie came up through. Like you can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, and there was a lot of live traffic, and it was fun to watch for sure. Jimmy, we've taken up enough of his time. Go ahead and wrap up with yours, and I'm sure he's got some new people to thank this year.
Yeah, let everybody know who do you want to thank that lets you get to the track each and every weekend.
Well, of course, big thank you to Bernie Beard, Steve Playball. This is an awesome thing with them. Seems like we're all having fun. And that was ultimately the whole thing we wanted to do. We said to each other was, let's have fun doing this. Racing should be. I mean, I can tell you cheaper ways to have fun than this. So if you're not having fun, well, like why do it, So yeah, thank you to them guys and Ethan, Connor, and Steven for everything they do helping out on the car. And I've got a long list group of guys here. We got Rockstar Wellness Clinic helping us. The McSherrystown Moose in Hanover. Doc Leveler, my boy Stevie Carr, of course. Clay Ball Trucking, of course. We got Sean's Auto Truck Recon, Hanover Clothing Company, Color Wheel, my buddy Brent, last year still rolling with us. LTP Rentals, of course, Dustin with Posse Land Apparel. Fairborn, Northeast. Also, shout out to Jim, Beer Hill Gang. They're helping me, with both deals. Got a big shout out too for Flux. Them guys helping huge with the Williams Grove deal we got going on. And same with Ron Rutherford and Mama's Pizza helping out a ton with that. You got Levi Hartman Cornwell, Torque, Sunbelt Rentals. We got Emmings, Auto Repair. We got TNT. We got Max Stack, Aaron Long, Ryder, Winters, Maxim Chassis. I mean, there's a ton of guys. Sorry. There's a ton of guys helping to make this thing happen. I know it. We talk to a lot of them, regularly, and everybody's really enjoying it so far. So you can't ask for much more than that.
Had some Max Stack at BAPS a couple weeks ago. Man, never disappoints, buddy. Never disappoints. You got to get the half Max.
What's your go-to? What's your go-to?
Honestly, it mixes it up. The chicken bacon ranch is good for me. Nothing too extreme. And you mix the mac and cheese and you mix the tots. That's the key. You got to mix it.
Yeah.
Chicken bacon ranch is my number one. The number two would be is it Buffalo?
Yeah, I'm the Buffalo chicken. I do the half and half.
Yeah, half and half, buddy. That's the only way. If I'm already hammered, I might forget half and half. But lately, I don't drink a lot at the racetrack, so I remember my half mac and half tot. So no doubt about it, man. Hey, thank you so much, man, for coming on. Great to get you on here, and got some signal today, so we can get to know you.
Yeah, we upgraded last time. No camera. Now camera just had a slight problem. Honestly, like next time, I'll just take a freaking ride up to your place and we'll just let's just make that happen.
I said that last year and then I totally forgot. Come on up here, man. Hey, I appreciate it, man. We'll see you at the racetrack soon. Whether it's Jimmy, Chris, or myself, I'm at Lincoln a lot. Obviously, Williams Grove. No Lincoln this week for me, but good luck to you, dude, and cannot wait to see you in Victory Lane this year because it's coming for you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. And then thank you for everyone who's backing us and supporting us. It's been a fun ride so far this year, and we're gonna keep riding it out.
Hell yeah, dude. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks, Matt.
Have a good one.
See you, buddy.
Matt Campbell, everybody. Again, awesome run by him this week, and a lot of good things coming for him this year. I think we can all see that he has a lot of good. He's he's having a lot of fun. You know what I mean? I love to see that, and when it's always more fun when you're running well, of course. But it's good just to see him having fun and running well. So definitely keep an eye out on him at Lincoln and Williams Grove when he's running there.
Chris, what do you think, man? How many wins does this guy get this year? What do you think?
4. I think he gets 3 at Lincoln and 1 at Williams Grove.
All right, shit, I'm in, dude. I'm in. I want to take pictures of that freaking mullet in Victory Lane, bro. I'm in. I want that shit like waving in the wind with the flag, buddy. I'm in.
Yeah, I think it's good. I'm going to go with 4.
Okay, all right, Jimmy, what we got next, buddy?
So we're going to bring on another P2 finisher from this past weekend, from Saturday night at BAPS. Jay-Z, you were there. Late models. Late model driver Jake Moser. Before we bring him on, he's reached out to us at one point and wanted to put T2T on his car, and he sent us we saw the wrap it was like Easter Sunday. I'm like, man, that's sharp, and there he is next weekend running P2. So all just kind of fell together, and we're like, yeah, this is a good time to bring this guy on. So let's bring him on in. Jake Moser, ladies and gentlemen. Jake, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Man, I got to tell you what, like I stopped by your car this week. Did anybody tell you that some guy stopped by your race car before the race on Saturday night? Did anybody say
Yeah,
that to you?
my brother told me.
I was like, "Where's?" And I was like, "I don't even know what you look like." I was like, "I don't even know what this." I saw the race car, and I'm like, "Damn, that's our logo. That must be Jake's car." I listen. We're not late model guys, okay? I was at
Right.
BAPS on Saturday night. I live in Windsor, Red Line area, so I'm 25 minutes away. And I'm like, you know what? The weather's shitty. I love Port Royal. I want to support my boys up there. But I'm like, dude, I'm going to BAPS for a weekly show. Let's go check out some super
Yeah.
sportsmen, some freaking late models. And I walk in and there's our logo. And I'm like, damn, where's Jake? And they're like, I don't know. I haven't seen him today. He
Yeah,
wandered off. You might have been in the pond out back somewhere. Nobody knew.
I like to wander if I get the opportunity to. So
Hey, appreciate you coming on, man. Listen, none of us know your background. I watched the race Saturday. Man, was I entertained. I don't care if I take photos or not. I was entertained, especially at the beginning of that feature. I hated to see that yellow come out because I don't know how long y'all would have ran side by side for the lead. We'll get to that in a minute. Tell us a little bit about your background. I don't know anything about you. I know the Moser family. This name is big in central Pennsylvania. Tell me a little bit about where you fit in that and your family's history.
yeah, so my dad's ran at Lincoln, I guess, in the Thunder cars since like 1992 or so. And then I went to my first race. I was probably only like 2 or 3 months old. Um, and then I don't know. I guess I was 2007 or so. I guess I was like 9 years old. Dad decided he was going to buy me and my younger brother go karts. We are going to go run them. So we did that for a couple years. And 2012, we went to a street stock. I was 14 years old. Ran that for a year and then ran late models in 2013. And pretty much ever since, I took a small break there during the way and went back to go-karts for a little bit, learned a lot. And then really since 2020, we just been back in the late model thing, just pretty much full swing at it and trying to learn more and more each year as we can.
Yeah, again, I know that, I know that division. I know some of the names. I know your name, but I didn't know like your journey. So for me to like watching, hey, I know this name, but like how you're involved, what you're up to, what you're going on, and I go out and see this car, and it's a beautiful race car. Jimmy, you got one of those pictures?
Oh yeah.
So I got this picture on from this weekend at the racetrack, and man, this is just a beautiful race car. The scheme fits well. Victory Fuel stands out. The Mason Dixon, is it Metalworks? The
Yeah.
41 in the neon. If I said, hey, Jake Moser, what number is he? I wouldn't have been able to tell you 41 until Saturday. So is that a number you've always ran? And how does the Victory Fuel and some of these sponsors come about?
No, I used to be number 5, and I have no idea why I was number 5 for the longest time. But everyone else there was a couple other guys that were number 5, and I was tired of putting an X or an M beside the number. So I just thought of a number that no one had at the time, and 41 was it. So I think we switched to that in 2018 or so, and I stuck with 41 ever since. Everyone always has been saying the past couple of weeks how good the car looks. And I'm like, man, I can't take any credit for that. That's all Zach Emlett at Speedcom that makes that happen. I just built the body. That was it.
And Zach Emlett, man, he's been on fire this year. I've seen his name and his brand more this year than I've seen ever before. Maybe I'm just paying attention more. I don't know what the deal is, but man, it is a good looking race car. It stands out. You can see it coming. And the helmet. Was the helmet already made, or did the helmet go with the scheme of the car?
No, the helmet, truthfully, we were at the World Finals, not this past year, but the year before. And the only one they had in my size there at, I forget what little stand they had there, what it was. But the only one they had in my size was that color scheme. So that's what I got.
So did Zach then build the car scheme around your helmet? Is that what he did?
I would assume, yeah. We ended up ordering a custom suit. My wife was doing all the colors and stuff for the custom suit, and she's like, "Well, we should probably make it look similar to the helmet or whatever." And we told Zach about it, and Zach was like, "All right." And then that's kind of what he came up with. Which me and Zach grew up with him since we were probably like 10-ish years old. We grew up together, and he knows that I don't like nothing too flashy, and I want it to be as simple as possible and not a whole lot of color. And for some reason, this car is just enough color makes me happy.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect balance between that simple gray black type scheme. It's sharp, and then that orange really stands out without it being more orange, than anything else. So
Right.
that gray white combo, the subtle little decal type, the way the gray is intermixed with the white and the black there works out great. So you reached out to us about, hey, getting a logo, and you got that. Jimmy, pull that picture up again there, that one
Yep.
there, and you got a bunch of little logos there on right behind the front tire. So tell us a little bit about where that idea came from. Again, we didn't financially support your team or even
Right.
really, again, we're learning tonight. So tell us a little bit about where that idea came from and why you decided to do that.
Well, we just, truthfully, I was going over with sponsor stuff with Zach, and I was like, man, I got a couple open spots. I was like, I want to give back what I can to the racing community and stuff like that, what I believe in, and listen to you guys a lot and other podcasts too. And I just, figure if I could spread the word a little bit and help more people, if they're not going to the races, maybe give you guys a listen and get more involved. And, if only 5 people do it, that's a win in my book. So that was pretty much what it was. We just kind of had an open spot, and I was like, well, we'll figure it out. We'll do it that way. And most of them little logos, they don't really like I have Avco on there, and they don't really do too much for me, but a little bit of help here and there. And same with Speedway Motors, same deal. I think it's pretty much just you guys, and there's this other little sponsor there, Sasquatch Outdoors. They take special needs kids out hunting and fishing and stuff like that. So I try to support them too. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is. We just didn't want the car to look empty and have an empty spot randomly, so we kind of just did that.
Man, we couldn't be more appreciative. We're definitely not the type. The three, Jimmy, Chris, and I, are not guys who we haven't reached out to anyone to sponsor our show. That's not. We're not in it for any of the financial stuff. We're just a bunch of goofballs who like racing. So,
Right.
I can really relate to what you did there. I feel like we provide something here. We're kind of idiots, but we provide something for these drivers to like, hey, here's who I am. Here's my story. Here's my background. Here's what I'm trying to do. And, the 3 or 4 people who actually tune in here, we're super appreciative of, but like, man, we're not big late model guys either. Admittedly, you probably listen to our show and we laugh when we talk about a late model because we're like, what the hell's a late model?
Right.
We're not that dumb, but at the same time, we're definitely sprint car guys. And by the way, you're number 2 late model guy to be on the show, so shout out.
There's 2 nuggets here, real quick. The idiot one here, because you come to BAPS. That's why I cry to you for 2 months to come to BAPS, and I don't go to BAPS for a regular show. And also, Jeremy's being nice to the audience because he keeps getting flamed for hating on late models and Danny Dietrich. So he's being nice this week. I could tell. It's in his heart.
Up a little bit. No, that's wrong. I love watching late models. I just don't.
I know.
Force myself to go see late models.
And now, when I go to BAPS to see Sportsman's, I also have a late model to cheer for most of the time.
Yeah, 100%. Same thing, right? Like, there's a couple names in that division that I knew of and I've heard of, and obviously Jake stood out. I know Travis Meese. I've heard that name over the years, right? In that division. There's a few others. Taylor Farling I've seen run at Port Royal in that car. So there was definitely some cars there that were familiar to me, but like, I didn't go, hey, that's my favorite driver because I don't know, right? We watch supers, we know supers a lot, but the limited division is very. I feel like this limited late model division is very spread out. You got pockets of people over here, you got pockets of people over there. They rarely come together in one group and get 30 of them, right? So it's like, where do I want to go? If I have a favorite driver, where are they going to be? I feel like that division is spread out. So let's talk about that for a second. Am I right? Or am I just crazy thinking that I'm just not finding the right places?
No, you're definitely right. I think here in the future, it's going to be easier to go to different tracks and stuff. With the limited lates, there's pretty much almost every track has their own little set of motor rules where just something small is different, where it's a pain to change. And they just want to keep you locked down one place or the other. So it's hard to travel, for us, it's hard to go to port because last year, at least, we were outmotored. And this year, it kind of opened the rules up at BAPS, and that's 10 minutes from my house. So it's hard not to build a motor legal for there. So now we're kind of more of an equal playing field to go to, Port and Hagerstown and Sealands Grove, stuff like that. and don't have to worry about just getting totally outpowered. And then, he's got the tire rules that are, especially a little bit last year and more so this year. A lot of the tracks opened up tire rules. You can run American Racer or Hoosiers, and a couple of them are still strictly on Hoosiers. But I think here, probably next year or so, I think you'll see these tracks hopefully start working together, and hopefully they start, talking over schedules a little bit more and trying to schedule big races, not around other big races.
Yeah, I feel like that. Is it ego? I mean, is it just ego saying, "Oh, I want this"? Like, if they wanted y'all to be there, they'd figure out how to do it where y'all could go race and have 30, 35 cars, have a B main, get all that gate money, and spread this around versus having 14 cars here and 14 cars there and 13 cars there. Where are the fans going to go? The fans are going to either go where their favorite driver is, or they're just going to go and say, "Well, where's all the damn cars?"
Yeah, I think it's kind of a pride thing, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Just everyone kind of thinks what we put on, we have the best, I don't even know how to explain it, but you know what I mean? The best people are going to want to come to race here instead of there. So they just kind of see where it all plays out. And I mean, Port and Hagerstown have always had really similar motor rules to where it wouldn't really hurt. And they've always seemed to have the best car counts. As of last year and even 2 years ago towards the end, BAPS was starting to get really good car counts, and I'm talking, close to the mid-20s, maybe 30s every once in a while, which was good. I know when we're at Lincoln, we normally get over 30. But yeah, I mean, it's just I don't really understand why, promoters and such is like that. If they work together, it honestly would help out everyone in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cars around. It's just like, let's figure out a schedule that makes sense. Y'all could race every weekend, even if a track ends up 2 weekends in a row, whatever the case may be. There's enough divisions of race cars in the dirt world to be able to make a schedule work. I would love to see Port Royal get limiteds up there and have a full field. I'd love to see BAPS this past Saturday. I would have loved to have gone there and see y'all run a B main. You should have. That was a great racetrack for y'all to be on. I think you'll agree with me. I think we'll talk about it. But like when I go see that division, Lincoln and BAPS, I grew up going and watching a lot of limited late model shows, and there was full fields. Now I go see a limited late model show, and I'm like, where's all the race cars at? And it feels like everybody's going to the super. And that was a conversation we had with Austin Berry, actually, about like the difference between the limiteds and the supers is like, if I can afford a motor, I can go run a super without making a ton of changes. Do you feel like that's also hurting that division a little bit?
It's honestly hard to say. Like, from my standpoint, no, because I mean, like, there's no way I could ever afford to have a super, so I don't look at it even close to that way. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. I mean, it makes sense really to go super racing if you can afford it, because everything just pays a lot better. And that's the other thing that's hurting the limiteds too. Is I think a lot of these tracks, they could pay a little bit better, I think, especially when you're getting, if you're getting 20 plus cars on a weekly basis, you can pay a little bit better than what some of these do. And it's hard for, you got to face it. The limited class is more so your lower dollar guys, so they can't really afford to travel and go through tires and all that. And I think payout definitely needs to be restructured a good bit. I believe 2 tracks here that I race at, or will race at here this year, they still got the same payout as what they did early 2000s.
Wow.
So it's, you know what I mean? Everything got so much more expensive, and they're still running for the same amount of money, and it's kind of hard to do.
Well, and it's hard, I guess, too, because like if you look at that division, when are you the headline? How often?
I mean, that's the thing. And that's like I've always argued, like, I like going to Path Valley, and I only ran Port once, but I love that track. And even Port, I think one night a year makes the limiteds the headline for their big limited race, just to put us first or whatever, and that means a lot. But, we're Central Pennsylvania, and let's be honest, if it don't have a wing on it, not many people care about it. You know what I mean?
Hey, bro? We're right here.
You feel
Actually, let me ask you that question. What are your plans this coming weekend? Where are you racing? Do you know?
Yeah, so we're gonna go to Path Valley on Saturday, and then as long as we don't destroy the car, we're gonna go to BAPS on Sunday.
Hell yeah!
Oh, listen, I just made a commitment to be the photographer at Path this weekend. The normal photographer is out of town. So I'm going to be the fill-in photographer at Path, and I'm like, let's get some. I saw late models, and I'm like, let's go late models at Path. I'm in. Now I just hope it's wide enough so y'all don't beat the hell out of each other too badly, because I went there twice last year when all of Central PA rained out, and the lane was about that wide for wingless super sportsmen, and like 4 of them finished. So let's hope that's not the case, but I'm pretty hyped about going to Path now. You're going to be there, good looking race car under the lights. So I want to talk about Saturday a little bit because, again, you're on my radar because your name, you put our logo on the car. I have no idea if you suck or you have a car that's any like good looking. I don't know anything. And you come out there and you start in the front row and you run side by side with the eventual A main winner, lap after lap after lap. Was it frustrating to not take the lead, or was that a freaking ball of fun just to run side by side with somebody?
Well, we went to these new Hoosier tires for the late models, and I've been struggling ever since we went there really bad. So to even just to sit there and like, oh man, I'm side by side with Devin, I was like, this is actually really good for us. Plus our first race out, we didn't, you know what I mean? Just to know we were that good-ish coming out of the box. We had carburetor issues up until after the heat race. We changed for the feature just to clear some things up, so we were good there. And we were on old tires that we had that were just sitting in the snow and weather all winter. Last year we threw on just because we just wanted to shake the car down. So just even to be able to run side by side with them for a handful of laps, I was pretty pleased. But when it got down towards the end there, especially that first green white checkers restart, I feel like I timed it good, and I was really thinking, I don't know, he probably still would have got me, but it might have been a little bit more exciting there the last 2 laps. But then I guess they wrecked behind us or whatever happened, and they did the second one, and I really mistimed that restart, and I was like, oh man, I just gave that one up. But no, I mean, it was kind of frustrating, but kind of not. I knew I couldn't run the bottom. Just knowing how my car normally is with these new Hoosiers and the little bit of time that I tried to cut the corner a little bit lower and how the car reacted, I knew I couldn't go down there. But at the same time, I was like, man, okay, it's first night out, and I know I'm on old stuff right now, so just try to, if I can bring it home second, it'd be a little bit better for the bank account.
And if the thing's not all dented up after week 1 and you come in with a decent finish as a win, and I'll be honest with you, you said you tried to go down there like 3 and 4. I was standing 3 and 4 for your feature, and Devin was the only car who could go as low as he was going. He was the only car who could go that low and make that car work. And it's not that a lot of people were more like almost diamonded a little bit, would like float it a little bit in the middle and then really drive off the bottom, which is common at BAPS at the end of the night when it gets to the bottom. But man, he could run the thing up on the curb way harder than anybody else could. I mean, can you set up for that, or is that just like, hey, that's what his car liked that night?
It's kind of just, you can set it up, but BAPS is so hard to really know what the track's going to do. I don't know if it's because, you would think like Port would kind of be the same way, but with the river being so close or whatever, the track brings up so much moisture from heat to feature. It's you don't want to over tighten yourself, and you just got to kind of guess at it mainly. And I guess I probably got a bad habit of making my car a little bit too over tight, but I'd rather run up there up top instead of trying to go around the bottom anyway. So
yeah, running the bottom is boring.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, one that could do to race. So there's that. Most of the pictures I have with you side by side are you on the top and him on the bottom. So that's the way it kind of went there. But no, super impressive run, to be honest. And I was entertained by it. Whether, once the 62 kind of Devin got the lead there, he kind of had it in control a little bit. But man, that battle for second, third, and fourth, what a wild battle. Like, was it fun, or was that like kind of stressful? Like, I don't want to wreck this freaking car on the first night out.
No, that was fun. We all, for the most part, we all ran each other with respect. There was a little hiccup there one time coming out of 4. Me and Farland got together, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, he wasn't there to make friends. Neither am I. I'm there to try to win a race. So it is what it is. It was just good, hard racing, and you come down to the end of it. It was fun. Colby Fry's always fun to race with. Devin's always fun to race with. Devin Fry's always fun to race with too. It was fun. When you got actually once the clouds came out and the sun came out of my eyes coming out of 4, it was a lot more fun.
Yeah, that sun got pretty intense when it was cloudy for like most of the night, but there was like 3 or 4 times where the sun came out and man, the sun angle was low and it was crazy intense in their eyes. I got some cool shots of like guys coming out of forward and like the sportsmen and late models. I can see their freaking pupils in their eyeballs through their helmet coming at the sun was that bright in their eyes. Yeah, it was crazy. And BAPS does that at dusk. Like you get the sun gets low and it gets back behind them when they're still in the middle of 3 and 4 and the sun's behind the bleachers, peeking out behind the bleachers where they are. Like I might be in shade, but the drivers are in the sun. It's crazy the way it works out there when it gets low. I mean, it looks cool for me, but it's probably a pain in the ass for you guys to see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a guessing game there for probably the first, well, up until that first caution came out. I honestly could not see where the outside wall was or where Devin was. I was just kind of hoping that he held his line and I was holding mine.
That's actually crazy. I would have never thought that. So you're hoping he's just not sitting sideways in the middle of 3 and 4 for some reason.
Yeah, hoping he ain't sitting sideways, hoping he didn't throw a slider because it's that hard to see. The thing is, if if your eyes have a little bit of chance to transition, you're okay. But going that quick, you're focusing on so many other things, and there's no time. You're just blind there for half a second or whatever it is, and then you're good.
Yeah. That place is kind of unique where you have the wall in 1 and 2 and you don't have a wall in 3 and 4. So do you drive both ends of that track completely different?
So normally last night was definitely kind of weird, or Saturday night. 1 and 2 normally holds a little bit more moisture, I guess, because the wall holds it. 3 and 4 is normally just a little bit more slicked off, but it was completely opposite on Saturday. 3 and 4 held more moisture, and 1 and 2 barely had anything. I don't know if it maybe was the way the wind was blowing or what. But we do kind of drive it a little bit different. It just kind of all depends how the track's prepped too. I mean, we know we can you can run into 3 and 4 a little harder, and if you end up getting in too early, you don't have to worry about knocking the wall down, the inside wall down. 1 and 2, you have to be a little bit more cautious about it, and passing somebody if you questionable if you can if you're there or not. They start coming down the track. 1 and 2, you're going to tear up some stuff. They do it in 3 and 4, you're just probably going to hit a berm, might spin out, but you'll probably be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we almost had an extreme stock come through the inside guardrail. We weren't paying attention. We kind of were paying attention, but didn't expect to see an extreme stock sliding backwards toward the inside rail at the end of that night. So, yeah, you never know. Jimmy, Chris, what do you got?
I'll go. Go ahead, Jimmy.
No, you go ahead.
I don't want to take your stuff, but
no.
2 questions here, Jake. So, one, what are your expectations for this season, looking ahead for you with your program?
I really don't know. I mean, me and Dave Magilton, we say we need to get 5 wins this year. So I guess that's just the goal.
5 wins.
Whether it's like if we run 20 races, and I guess you'd be happy with this. If we run 20 races and we don't finish 15 of them, as long as we win the other 5, we're all right.
I mean, winning a quarter of your races is pretty good. Pretty good percentage.
Especially if you won all the races you finished, that'd be crazy. So, but and then other one, if you had a race that you wanted to win, is there one atop your list to be most important to you to win?
Truthfully, the Billet Memorial at BAPS Motor Speedway, they're coming up here on the 20th.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Tyler Koenig asked a question. Get to a couple fan questions here. Are you looking forward to the topless race at Williams Grove?
Yeah, I am. I haven't raced there in probably 9 years or so. So I'm really looking forward to getting back there. I'm glad they're having us. Hopefully a lot of cars come and show up. We can put on a good show for everyone. But I'm definitely excited. I never had luck at the Grove, so hopefully that changes. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited.
Have you ever run it topless before?
Yeah, we always ran there the topless races, and I've always ended up wrecked.
Well, every time I see late models on the Winners Grove card, it seems to rain. So hopefully both of those things don't happen.
Yeah, right. Let's hope that doesn't. Santos has a couple questions here. One, he would love to know the cost difference between limited and super lates, and this is kind of when you're talking about it's like price difference is astronomical.
Yeah, so
good.
If you would compare apples to apples and have the best of what each you could, you're probably talking $50,000-ish difference, maybe to 40. I don't really know how much a top of the line super late model costs, but I would say somewhere in that range would be. It's really just the motor, and that's about it. You're
Right.
pretty much, all the shocks are the same. You still springs are springs, so it's pretty much just whatever the motor cost would be, 30 to 40,000 difference, I would think.
And then we actually got this comment here from Tommy Slanker, which it's a familiar name here. Jake is a good guy and turning into a great racer. So there you go.
I like Tommy. Me and Tommy drink beer together sometimes.
And then Santos also asked, would love to know the answer to this. I've heard driving a late model is opposite of a 410. So is it true that to get the car to rotate, you ride the brake, whereas a sprint car, to my knowledge, it's the opposite?
Yeah, actually, Saturday we were doing a lot of that. And, we have a right front shutoff switch. We're allowed to turn the right front brake off while we're racing if we need to. And I never have my right front brake on. And Saturday I was dragging a lot of brake. Just kind of, you want to keep the car rotated. You want to stay in the gas. You never want to let all the way out and just keep everything loaded up right. So, yeah, I never drove anything with wings before, so I don't know really what the characteristics for them are. But from what I've heard, I think Gary Stuller got into a sprint car at Path Valley for like a practice or whatever, and he said it was completely the opposite of what he's used to. I think Lance said the same thing. Lance DeWee said the same thing when he got into a super late.
And even Craig Perigo with the sports and stuff, same thing coming from that Fender car stuff. We had talked to him last week, same thing, even the sportsman, it's a complete opposite feel than what he was hoping for.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I'm sure it's a ton difference. I mean, yeah, I can't even imagine what a 410 or even a 358 would even feel like aero wise. And
Randy asked, do you have any desire to drive a sprint car?
I'd drive anything.
If someone has a seat, put them in it, baby.
Yeah. There you go. Anybody out there with a sprint car? Let's go. What are your plans kind of for the rest of the season here? Are you just you going to be mostly BAPS centric, Path Valley, or?
Yeah, we normally years before, I've never ran for a championship, never worried about a championship before, I should say. And we but this year we figured with the way the tire roll situation is at BAPS this year, and we're going to try to run Path Valley for points, and then when they don't have us, we'll go hit or miss, and whether it's BAPS or Hagerstown or Port, wherever. So that's kind of what we're planning on, just make all the races at Path Valley. I'm not a good points racer because I just rather win than care about points. So I know that's probably not the best idea to do, is try to worry about or run 4 points, but we'll just try to make every race at Path Valley and see what happens from there. And, we always figured if you win, the points come behind it. Right. So
that's true.
It's the most points if you win. So.
Right.
Really?
Santos too here with another question. Would love to have you up at Port for the Butch Renninger for the fair opener. And when that's what you were talking about before, is that, that's kind of the big limited race at Port Royal. They make you guys basically the headliner there on a big week for Port Royal.
Yeah, I've seen that on the schedule, and I really want to be, but I'm pretty sure Path Valley races that night, and that goes back to I'm wishing tracks would just
wish they would talk to each other.
Or just be willing to.
Same thing here with like the Grove is topless here on the 26th for us, and then it's 2 weeks later Path Valley has this topless air, and it's like, man, why couldn't you just move that just a little bit? Yeah, so
yeah, I like last year we were up at I was up at Port for the Renninger Memorial, and it's a big limited race, and the field, I was like, if this is like one of their higher paying races of the whole year, where are all the race cars at? And again, for you guys in your division, right, where you're not the headline typically, those points championships matter, right? To not only yourself, but like, yeah, it's not going to make you a living, but like, hey, I'm a track champion. Like that matters. Where like I think it's getting watered down a lot in the 410 division anymore, where it's track champion. You're like, 3 cars ran the whole damn season. For you guys in those series, it's like, hey, I'm committed. I want to be a track champion at X. It's hard to go ahead and leave to go run that race, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, at least in my case, we've never really worried about a championship. I mean, ever in my whole career. Go karts or whatever. We never cared. So just figured this would be a good year to do it. Path Valley is one of the better paying racetracks. So just to put our focus in there and show our support to them. Like, we appreciate you paying a little bit better. And then, if a championship comes, it does. If it doesn't, oh well. But yeah, I mean, we just figured just everything involved, it'd be a cool idea, I should say, to run Path Valley for points. I really was hoping that the Port Royal big limited race wasn't scheduled over top of any Path Valley races, but just unfortunately it was, which kind of sucks. But I do know at least Path Valley opened their schedule up for both of the Lincoln races for us. So
cool.
I can't complain too much, I guess.
Oh, I forget what I was going to ask you now. It's gone. Never mind. Go ahead. Jimmy, what do you got?
Shane Miller asked, who's a better driver, you or your brother?
Well, where'd he finish on Saturday?
There it is.
Is that how the conversation went in the pits?
What's that?
Is that how the conversation went in the pits then with the brother? Like, where were you at?
Well, I asked him. I got out of the car and I seen his car all beat to hell. I was like, what were you doing? He's like, I was running to the top. You should have seen me. And I was like, you were running the top in 15th, He
was having a great time back there. So Path Valley. I have not watched late models around Path Valley. Tell me about what that can be like.
If there's a lot of rain, which is we are getting some rain here coming up in the next couple of days, and I'm hoping it does the same thing up there before Saturday. It can build a pretty good cushion, and it's pretty much flat to the floor, right around the boards on the top.
Sign me up.
Yeah. But normally it's more of a, it's so small. Momentum's not huge key there, but you can gain a little bit by running the top there. I hate running the bottom. So if I can get off of there, any chance I get, I will. But yeah, normally, I mean, it's tight racing. There's always going to be sheet metal beat up from just, rubbing or something. The hole opens up. You can't sit and wait, think about it like you could at BAPS or Port or Lincoln or whatever. Path, when a hole opens up, you just got to shove it in there and hope you made the right choice.
Yeah, so good question here. Actually, talking about Path Valley reminded me, I went and looked a little bit ago about what was racing this Saturday. Right before this show started, I was literally on the website going, what runs? I'm like, oh, late models. That'd be cool. And I went back to the results from October, August, September, and the same guy won 2 or 3 in a row at the end of the year. I don't even remember his name now. Do you know who it was? If you say it, I'll know it.
Could have been DJ Myers.
No, that wasn't it. But either way, whoever that guy is, you need to beat him this weekend.
Well, all right. We'll have to figure out who it is.
No pressure.
Now I'm going to have to look it up again. But hey, Tyler Steven wants to know your speed secrets. So please tell him that you don't cover up your wheel wells and hide shit and do all that goofy stuff, do you?
My speed secret?
Yeah. Are you putting up the panels across every tire? Are you hiding everything?
No, I can't afford to. I got to use an old tore up tarp. No, we like doing stuff if we're running good. We like doing stuff to mess with people, just to get people thinking. But I mean, one year we taped off the nose or all the corners where the sheet metal goes onto the plastic. We taped all that up, and they're like, "What's that for?" Like, "Oh, it seals the air so nothing gets in there." And it don't,
You should run like an extra shock on the back that doesn't do anything, just to make people think about it.
Well, we already have 3 back there. I don't want to put no more on.
Yeah, I would you roll out there with 9 of them one weekend. None of them do anything. They just show it to everybody, see what they think. I'm all in for that. Let's see here.
Taylor thinks it was Jackson. I think is the name. Is that the name?
Jackson Garmin.
Man, that might be it. Maybe you were right the first time. I'm going through the rundown. Why do they have all these random pictures in here?
Why is Jay-Z so confused right now? He's off the rails.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, I looked at it earlier. Spike Moore.
Oh yeah, Spike Moore. He runs a good bit of super late races and UMP mods, but truthfully, we didn't run past that much towards the second half of last year, so I didn't remember that.
Yeah, Spike Moore, Mike Walls, we obviously know that. We know Dan Zeckman, Taylor Farling. I don't know Gerald Davis, Gunnar Walls. I've seen that name. There's DJ Myers finished 8th. This was in October. Devin Fry didn't have a good day. When was this? September. Oh, go the other way.
So basically, Jake, you have to beat all these guys, or else JZ was not gonna be happy.
Well, I can do my best. He's just gonna have to come up to the trailer afterwards and help me beat out the body panels.
Okay, I'm in for that. I'm all in.
All he needs is a hammer and a beer. He'll be fine.
We got plenty of beer.
Oh yeah. The Rutz family. I met Eric this weekend. Totally separate subject. I walk up to Eric, introduced myself, and he went, beer. But he didn't have any handy, so he's still not my favorite Rutz. So the jury's still out on if it's Ryan or Eric. So if they're listening or watching, jury's still out, boys. You just need to give me a beer.
If they're not watching, I'll pass that message on Thursday.
I might have been looking at starting lineups, not finishes. Oh shit.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, the question was, did
like
you do all your own?
in.
I know. Did you do all your own shocks again this year? Was the actual question.
No, I did all my own shocks last year. Just trying to save some money. This year, took them to Colby Fry. He did all of them for me, and I'm sure that probably had a big part of why we ran pretty good right out of the box versus last year's episode. But no, we didn't really have a lot of time, and I didn't really feel like messing with it. I don't have the right equipment to make sure they're done the exact right way. So Colby only lives 10 minutes from me, so I just drove him over to Colby's, and he took care of me.
Nice. How you feeling about this upcoming weekend? If the weather looks like the way it's going to be, how do you feel about your maybe what track conditions might be at Path and at BAPS on your chances of maybe winning?
I mean, Path Valley for the past 2 years now, we've won the first time we went to Path Valley for that year. So hopefully we can keep that streak up. And we went on all types of different track conditions there too, because it's either been dry or slick. We won the first one, or last year was wet and rough, and we won that one. So
it don't matter. You're going to go out and win.
Yeah, I guess. We just got to hope on a good pill draw, really. That's what it comes down to. BAPS is definitely going to be a setup guy's nightmare because we don't ever run with the 410s there. So we have no idea don't really have a notebook for this. It's just going to be kind of look at it and hope for the best.
I got to be honest, I'm kind of hyped for the BAPS show because many times they run the 410s and like the 602 crates and some other shit box division.
This is the shit we're talking about. This
love
is how
BAPS,
you offend people.
I love BAPS, but even the 602s, man. I appreciate race car drivers and I appreciate their commitment. But man, 602 crate mods are just painful sometimes. Anyway, the 410 358 combo at BAPS is my favorite. I'm a wing guy. I like that. They should do more of it. But the fact that you guys, the show that I just watched this past weekend, and I like BAPS for that speed difference. You got those fairly long straightaways, and you really have some tight corners where you got to slow the car down. Unique on both ends. I think the late models are a great combination with the 410. So I hope that cars show up. I hope that enough of them survive the night before at Path Valley or wherever they're running, and y'all put on a hell of a show. Because if it's a preview of what I saw Saturday night for next weekend, I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping Sunday. Like I said, I mean, normally when the 410s are there, there's a pretty decent cushion. It's supposed to be nice weather, so hopefully that can happen. And I'm just hoping there's a cushion. That's all I could tell you. I want to be up top, beating the boards down.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and not to talk about a competitor too much, but I don't know Devin Fry, and that's a good-looking race car. I saw it at test session a couple weeks back and took some photos of it. I'm like, that's a pretty sharp-looking race car. Car looked good in test, but he's not racing. So I don't know much about him. Is he a guy to watch for the season in your division?
Oh yeah, Devin. He's probably been running about the same amount as long as I have, close to it. Me and him we both. We were struggling for a while, and then I feel like past 2 or 3 years, we really, both of us just picked our game up and got our head out of our asses, I guess, and just started, figuring it out a little bit more. So, he's definitely one to watch. He's won last year. I think he won at BAPS once and Path Valley once. I don't know if he won anywhere else, but Devin's definitely definitely one to look out for. He definitely has speed. He has a couple off nights here and there, but when he's on, he's on.
Fair enough. So you're gonna same question I ask everybody. Everybody that we've ever had on here, you're getting the same one. And I may not even know the damn names you mentioned here, but we're gonna hope we do. One driver that you love racing with, it's a lot of fun. You always have a great time for whatever reason, and somebody you hate racing around for whatever reason that is.
Oh man, probably my favorite one to race with was always Ben Whittaker. He don't race anymore, I don't believe, but he was always fun. He would throw sliders, he'd put it on your door, and you could do it right back to him, and he would lift for you and do all the right things. He was always a blast to race with. I wish he'd come back to racing so we could race like that some more. Uh, Pain in the ass to race with anyone that's faster than me, probably.
So, okay, that's a first for me, for us. I think that we've had both a retired driver and no name, didn't want to name someone. So you can't let you off the hook. Who's somebody that's super hard to pass that you're faster than, but they're hard to pass?
Man, some nights at Path Valley, Michael Wall's there, the 99. Matt Adams sometimes. It all depends. There's a couple guys that they just run just the right line just enough. And it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's just like, man, come on, I just want to go. And
Yeah. No, I know the Walls name, right? A Walls won the Extreme Stock feature, and that family has a lot of tradition in Central Pennsylvania. When I think of names in Central PA, when I look at the late models and street stock, Extreme Stock, Thundercar, whatever you want to call them, Walls, Yoder, Moser, like there's just these family names, man, that just it's generation after generation after generation. And the fact that Mike was out there on Saturday racing late model, and Brian goes and wins a freaking extreme stock race, and then seeing your family and all these names, it's just the beards. There's not many beards. I knew Bernie. I think there was a beard racing a street stock as of a year or two ago in the X. Was Bernie racing a street stock a year or two ago?
Bernie, last I know, Bernie was running limited lates with us in the X.
Maybe I got that confused with somebody else. A 60, a black and yellow 60.
Oh, that would be Danny and Aaron Beard. I guess they're the same Beard family. I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's not. But it's like it seemed like what I'm saying. Like you guys, like it's like, damn, I get confused which generation two and which cousin and uncle and brother, and I'm like, damn, I'm just glad y'all are around because we wouldn't have divisions left if we all were gone. But no, I'm excited. Oh, that's a different Mike. Brian Wall. Wait, what? Different Mike Walls. The 99 Mike Walls is different than the Mike Walls that just ran at BAPS.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, there's two Mike Walls?
Different Walls families.
Holy hell! Now, now, why would that be easy to figure out? Okay.
Brandon gotta watch more late model.
Says Brian Walls is a monster wheel man, and he also asked, "Have you ever finished 1-2 with your brother?"
What? Do you ever think my brother finishes up front?
That is great.
I don't know. You tell us.
Got him.
Yeah, no, I mean, we never finished 1 and 2 before. I tried. We ran go-karts together, and I tried to push him one time into it would have been a 2 and 3, but when I hit him, I guess I hit him so hard I broke his cotter pin to the steering shaft, and he went, right into the wall, coming across the line.
I don't think he's sorry about it, just based on his face.
So his first year in late model racing, he dumped me. I was leading the heat race, so.
Nice.
There's fair.
So the last one I have before Jimmy gets you out of here, man, and we appreciate it so much getting to know you and learn about your career and family. Victory Fuel. So obviously prominent on the car. You got the T-shirt on. What's your connection with Victory Fuel and where? What do you know about the company that we don't know?
I mean, it was just the sponsorship program deal they got going on. I guess a handful of people, have it. So, I from what I guess I got out of it was, if I do good promoting their stuff, they'll up the ante next year and keep going. So, figured I might as well try. That's all I really know about them. Besides, the Swindells are the one that own it. I've only ever had their throttle punch. I don't like lemonade, so I let my wife drink the Lucky Lemon or whatever it was, and I need to get an order in, bring a couple with me here for Path Valley here on Saturday.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, and Victory Fuels come on the radar, obviously, in our local scene and the national scene when it comes to dirt racing. We were fortunate enough, Jimmy and I went to Bridgeport for, was it called Oktoberfest, Jimmy, still?
Yeah, it was
Or
like their Oktoberfest, yeah.
called the
Springtoberfest
Oktoberfest
or
race at
whatever.
Bridgeport this last fall when they had the 410s and, different divisions. And we had a chance to actually have a Victory Fuel, and Victory Fuel is a big sponsor of Bridgeport. And holy shit, was that good. I drink energy drinks all the time, and I'm like, wow, this was like really freaking good. I was honestly surprised. So I had a second one, and then I bought a third one, and I had to like the shakes the rest of the night. So like, but it was well worth it. And I saw they came out with the second one, and I think that they're onto something there as far as the grassroots, and hopefully that continues to grow. And I looked up the ambassador program. Honestly, I think they're doing it the right way. They're doing it conservative, but at the same time, you know, these sponsors that support racing, the fans are very loyal to those things. And
Right.
I think it's a good way to build their base, hopefully to something bigger. So yeah, man, listen, if you bring some Victory Fuel, I'll buy some from you. I'll be there Saturday. I'll buy some, or, whatever the case may be. And I did look this up for Central PA fans. Some local racetracks carry it, but order it online. That's the best way. None of our local retailers carry it a whole lot yet. Hopefully that gets going around here in central Pennsylvania. But the big one is really just at some of the racetracks. If you look up on Victory Fuel's website, you can find who sells it. Some of our local tracks are starting to retail it.
Yeah, it was at Port Royal this past weekend.
Was it really? Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Port Royal was one of them. So looking forward to that. Man, car looks great. Jimmy, go ahead and get him out of here, man. Let's thank sponsors.
Yeah, before we thank sponsors, do you have any merch?
That's
No, we don't. We're too broke to put out t-shirts.
Heard.
I want some more Path Valley races first.
Well, why don't you thank some of the sponsors that you got that help and all the people that help you get to the track every weekend?
Yeah, I mean, Victory Fuel, obviously. Falls Crab Shack, Mason-Dixon Metalworks, TAZ, Lawn Care. I'm going to forget people. Dave Magilton, my parents, my grandparents, my wife. I think that's really all of them that I could think of. I mean, pretty sure Dave Magilton, he's badass. We 2 years ago we cut this car apart and kind of redid it, and then redid it again over this past winter. So that's why probably one of my prouder moments was coming right out of the box and just doing stuff. I had some ideas. He's a fabricator and a welder, and I told him like what I wanted to do, and he made it happen. And we come out pretty quick. I'm like, all right, I like this. This is good.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully we're talking to you this weekend, maybe after post-race, after you win either at Path or at BAPS. That'd be really awesome. If not, I'm sure we'll be talking to you here in the future. And we really appreciate you coming on and everything that you do. It's a really cool deal, I think, with how you did those the logos and put our logo on the car and just your reasoning for it. I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Like I said, I really appreciate it, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully I can help spread the word for you guys a little bit, and like I said, get 5 people that aren't into dirt racing that figure it out and get into it. That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, dude, I appreciate it so much taking the time out tonight. I'll see you Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
And I think Chris and Jimmy are both coming down Sunday, so I'll drag their ass in the pits. We'll do
We're gonna do that pit walk.
Facebook Live again, maybe do a pit walkthrough, and we'll get you on
Absolutely.
camera again on Sunday.
All right, man.
All right, man. Take it easy, man. Have a
Thanks.
great night.
Have a
Thank you
great
so
night.
much.
Jake Moser, everyone. That was awesome. Cool dude. Good to get to know him a little bit more. And late model guys are just cool, man. That's just something I've noticed. All the drivers and everything that we have on are cool, but specifically having Austin Berry and Jake, like I feel like we could talk to those guys for hours on end.
Yeah, you sprint car guys need to step it the hell up. Okay? These are some of my top 2 favorite guests we've ever had. All right, sprint car guys need to step it up. No, listen, Matt Campbell was great. Love you, Matt.
Yeah.
All our sprint car guys. I'm not taking anything away from them, but
no.
That was super fun. Maybe it's because I'm like 5 of these deep now, but I've had a great time with it tonight, and had a great time over the weekend, and look forward to seeing them again this weekend. To be honest.
Absolutely. Let's get back into this past weekend. Let's kind of just do a quick recap of the weekend that was. We talked a little bit about Lincoln. We talked a little bit about BAPS. Anything else you want to add that we didn't cover in those first two segments?
Yeah, Lincoln made a mistake by not having another division. Move on from that. Also, Fred Putney went out and put water down before the A main, and we had a red flag right at the beginning of the A main for Ryan Newton. I didn't get to talk to him yet. Hopefully, the car's okay. Definitely took a little bit of a tumble in 3 and 4. I was at the other end of the track. Hope Ryan's okay and hope the car's okay to continue on. But then after the car was cleaned off the track, we had 10 minutes. We all just sat around, and the wind and the sun just ate away all the moisture. So I don't know what they were waiting on. I didn't hear anything over the loudspeaker. I don't have a little radio. I'm sure it was something important. But if they sat around while that car was in the pits, what the hell were we doing sitting here under red flag? We're just standing around looking at each other. I don't know. They took rubber at the end of the race. There you go. There's your story. Anyway, should have had a second division. URC/358 should have been there with them. I would have stayed another hour to get that in to see 30, 40 of those cars show up because they would have brought the cars on a nice Sunday afternoon. But really, that's it from Lincoln for me. Friday night was obviously a washout, which we all expected.
Yes.
BAPS Saturday, excuse me. Super Sportsman feature. Chris, I am so disappointed that you were not there because we're Kenny Edkin fans. You've had him on the Rolling Podcast.
Yeah.
I got to talk to him before the races. I didn't get to talk to him after. I'm sure he's disappointed, but Dellinger drove by him and took a win. When is the last time Kenny Edkin got drove by under green flag and lost a race?
It's probably been a while. I'm gonna guess
1944, before he was born.
Like probably unplugged his hot dog roller is what it is.
Somebody disconnected the hot dog roller.
Yeah, they figured out that trick probably because we shared that. So sorry, Kenny, for that. But also, Scott Dillinger, he's also really good there too. So if there's anyone that's going to compete with Kenny Edkin week in and week out, that's going to be your guy that you would look to. I would say him. Obviously, I know Jay Fantasy had a issue in the heat, but those would be your three guys for the most part that I think of right away every week in, week out, going after it.
Yeah, and Jay had a big incident in the beginning of the heat race, came back and finished. I mean, he was running near the front of that race by the end of it. Had a really good race car, clearly. Just no track position to start because of the incident in heat, right? Luckily, honestly, based on how that wreck looked, I can't believe he came back out and raced either. Like Kevin Gutschall continued during that heat race. That damn thing was like, I mean, I don't know how it stayed together after what he went through. And Jay Fantasy was like wing first into the outside wall.
So it's
And the
quality
damn thing
sportsman
came back
frames,
for the
man.
feature and ran through the front.
There's quality sportsman frames. They last forever, baby.
You're not wrong. They're tanks, dude. Like freaking M1 Abram tanks, bro.
Yeah, the racing seemed good though. I don't.
Yeah.
Was not there. Got to work late, and by the time I would have got there, they'd have been wrapping up early start time. Good for everyone else. Not so good for me, but it happens sometimes. We got to get the race in. I know those sportsman guys had flashbacks to last year where all of April got rained out, and all of a sudden it's June and they don't own the cars. So it's good to get their race in. Extreme Stocks, go ahead. I don't remember anything about that.
No, for sure. A couple things, right? Scott Dellinger taking the lead and winning. Obviously, Kenny Edkin's good. Troy Rome, like, just impressive from start to finish. Won his heat race, was running up front there. I think had an issue, maybe came back through the field. I don't remember, and goddamn, does that car look cool? Man, does he have a cool paint scheme? That's a big old boy too. I don't know Troy Rome.
This guy.
That's the one. That's not a great picture though. Where's the good pictures?
Oh, I'm just trying to promo Thursday. Troy Rome is on the
road. Oh, they're on my hard drive. That's where the good pictures are. Okay, listen, Linda. It was great. I had a great time. The extreme stock feature, Brian Walls led start to finish, but it was not without pressure. There was second, third, fourth, fifth were in a massive battle for position. It was fantastic. Scramble cars, 2 showed up. There was not a scramble car race. I was okay with that. It's okay. I was fine with it.
What do scramble cars do?
I don't know what they do. They said they set up a chicane on the front stretch. Like,
I think you could do that with 2 cars, to be honest, if you wanted to.
they had two cars. They ended up running like a 10-lap shootout. I left. I was like, listen, I love you guys, but I'm done. I'm good. Super entertaining Saturday night overall, though. Efficient show for some of the things that they had going on. Great job. The track was fantastic. Based on what I was watching on Flow, Port Royal, and based on what I was watching at BAPS, couldn't be any different. There was a racetrack to race on at BAPS, and there was not one to race on at Port Royal. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why it was so different.
Jimmy,
Obviously,
you were at Port
different
Royal.
thoughts on how to prep a racetrack. Jimmy, go ahead.
So we talking about Port?
Go ahead.
I'm trying to follow with comments over here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Port, they had it sealed off. Obviously, you had to with all the rain that we got. They're lucky that they even got the race in. And then I think the sun started coming out a little bit earlier than everybody expected. Plus, you had 76 sprint cars there between 305s and 410s. So the track started blowing off pretty early. And then probably by the end of the heat races, it started taking rubber a little bit. They brought out the water truck. It rejuiced it up for the B main, the first couple laps of the B main. I'm like, oh man, it's going to be sick. And then they blew all that moisture off because the sun was out and just started getting warmer. Then they had the 305. 305s had two. There's so many. The 305s, it was their big race from last year. The
Blue Collar Classic, right?
The Blue Collar Classic. So they had 6 heat races. And
64,000 of the cars showed up.
Yeah, they had 44 cars. I mean, it's a pretty good
okay.
car count. On top of the 32 410s. So it was a good turnout, which was good to see, especially since Port kept getting the shaft here with the weather. So at least they were racing at least. But then they had 2 consies for the 305s, and then they came out and watered it again. They really watered the piss out of the top. And actually, the beginning of that feature, the top was there. That's how Devin and Danny got to the front, was running the top. Also, the fact that 15 cars piled up on the start, which we can talk about here in a second.
Sure. I would love to.
But then the sun started really coming out, and it just took rubber. I would think the only thing I could think of that they could maybe have saved it was maybe watering it one more time in between the heat races somewhere. But I still don't. I think it was going to delay the inevitable. I just think it started getting, just kind of the way the weather was and how many cars there was. And since they had to seal it off, it didn't get the moisture in it that you probably normally want to get in it, but you can't take that risk and not get the track.
Race in.
Not get the race in. So they're kind of between a rock and a hard place. They didn't want to. They started it 2 hours earlier because you didn't want to get it too cold, which it was colder later in the day once the sun started to go down. So happy we got to see a sprint car race. Yeah, it rubbered up, but it wasn't a bad race at all. I mean, it's a shame. You hate seeing rubber down races where it's all locked down on the bottom, but it was still a pretty good race. Danny Dietrich wins.
Yeah. Hell of a move.
Hell of a move on Devin Borden, who I was really shocked. I started seeing, it was probably about 10 laps in, 12 laps in, and I started noticing the entire field just started diving down to the bottom. It was maybe a couple laps before that, but like everybody but Danny and Devin were still banging the boards up top. Everybody went low. And then Danny had one lap where he went low and got kind of near Devin, and I'm like, Devin's going to live and die by the top, and it's going to be a mistake. But he didn't. He showed some maturity. He showed some growth, I think, and went down right at the perfect time, held Danny off until he had a late race restart. And there's not, Danny had to shove it in there. Not much Devin could really do other than maybe get a little bit of a better start, but Danny just got to give hats off to Danny there.
Yeah, he timed the start perfectly, and just did Danny Dietrich things, like an experience in those situations. Jeremy talked about it earlier, and just how he kind of races other people. That's the same thing, though. He's been there all year long. We talked about all year long. He's been top 3 almost every week, minus that one Williams Grove night where all hell broke loose for him. But congrats to Danny. He parked on the shitter.
Yeah, I talked to Chris Shuttlesworth on Sunday at Lincoln, actually, and I got to watch this on Flow, and I am amazed at how much – I'm amazed that Danny won that race, let alone won the race, let alone finish with a tire on the right rear, because
it was bald. There's nothing left.
On Flow, they have the camera set up on the front stretch up high, okay? Devin was like slow entry to 1, get the car down, and he would diamond it, run down across, okay? Never really got the car jumped out sideways. Danny was driving into turn one sideways, trying to get under Devin, sliding right rear every lap. They had that restart at the end, and I can't believe that there was enough tire on the back of that 48 car to get the start he had and then also make that stick in turn one. Like, it was the perfect combination of guessing the start right, having enough momentum, and making it stick. I can't believe it because I would have thought Devin had way more tire left than Danny based on what I was watching on flow. Like, I'm standing in the infield at BAPS doing whatever I'm doing, watching this race, and I'm like, I can't believe Danny was the first car without a tire let go or that had a tire let go, right? It was a couple other cars. So, man, like, shout out Danny Dietrich, dude. Like, veteran move, dry slick. He knows how to get it done. It didn't feel like he was saving tire. It didn't look like he was saving tire. And based on some of the pictures I saw, nobody could or did. You just prayed your tire stayed up. And kudos to Danny, right? First win at Port Royal since 2021, I think I saw.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So, yeah, so good for him. And I know he likes running up there. I know he enjoys being up there, and he likes how the track supports what he does, and he's involved with the Weicker, obviously. And so good for him. A little heartbroken for Devin, to be honest, because I thought Devin drove so smart, so mature, and he said it kind of sucks, but man, you can't take that away from Danny at all. He did a great job.
No, and then Jeff Halligan finished third, and a little bit of controversy on the start. There's a lot of finger pointing, I guess. Big pile up if you didn't see it. And it all started on the front road. Halligan started pole, Linton Jeffrey started second, and a lot of good cars got tore up. We had a red immediately before they even got to the start-finish line. I'm in turn two, so all I did see was cars flipping. I don't really know exactly what happened, but seeing some different views of the replay from Flo, and then who's the other one that had they put up a video out of turn four?
Cameron.
Cam. I don't know if you could really pin the blame on one person specifically. I
can.
A lot of people are saying Halligan came up. It looks a little bit like that on Flo, but I think more Linton came down. It's the way I see it. But it's hard to tell because you have Devin Borden jumping out five lanes to the outside behind him on the start. The start just looked bad. And I don't know if you could blame one person specifically, but to me, it looked like the 39 came down a little bit more than the 45 came up. That's just me. But it was just a shame.
I was following the comments.
I think the rest of the show is going to.
I don't know what he just said.
I don't know what you just said either.
I was going to say the rest of the show is going to be comprised of starts. So go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So let's start. I get what Linton's doing. I think it looks like Halligan kicks out and is driving down. But I guess the next start was the same way with Billy out there. It almost happened again. That's what I read through the comment section, but I haven't seen every start. I don't know. These starts, to me, these guys are all trying to get an advantage, whether it be the start zone, start line, penalize the guy. I know that's a Lincoln thing that you're going to probably touch on, Jay-Z, but Devin Borden getting out there, he's just trying to get an advantage and make them make a call. And if they're not going to make a call, this is probably what happens. You're going to see more of this. Guys trying to do whatever on a start to gain an advantage, and you're going to sometimes mess up, miscalculate, hit wheels, and wreck the whole field.
Yeah, and it helped him avoid the wreck by jumping out there. And I think part of it, too, is just maybe because of the track conditions, everybody's trying to go for a small part of that real estate to get that grip coming off the corner, too. It might be the part of it.
I mean, maybe, but I think if you're Linton Jeffrey there, you got to do whatever you have to do to get into turn one before Halligan and vice versa. Get to that bottom, that could be the race right there, theoretically. Yeah. I think this goes back to making the call, making it properly, because what's going to happen, you're going to see more and more of this gamesmanship, we'll call it.
Big loser out of it, too, is Corey Day, who was the surprise entry out of, high limit guy out of California. He won his heat race. I can't remember where exactly he started, but
I think he started fifth. I think
he got caught up in that deal, and he ended up not coming back out. He didn't flip. He actually, when the red flag came out, he actually parked right in front of me, and I saw his crew guy there asking the track crew to kind of go to the other side and look and see how bad the damage is. They were taking pictures. They're looking at it, and they're like, yeah, just take it back. And it was it for him. So kind of a shame for him because, probably trying to get some laps there at Port. He looked really good in the heat. With it being rubber down, who knows what would happen, but he didn't end up being able to turn any laps. So kind of a bummer for him to make that trip all the way out here and not even get to run the feature.
Yeah, I thought he would show up to BAPS Sunday or Lincoln Sunday based on High Limit being canceled, the weekday show.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that was already canceled, they'd show up Sunday, but they didn't. So a little disappointed in that, to be honest with you. But okay. So again, I don't have to be right, but this is absolutely 1,000% on Linton Jeffrey. He fucked up. Okay. Jeff Halligan is the leader of the race on the pole and goes. He just goes. He didn't spin the tires, jump the car sideways, screw up the start. He just went. Linton Jeffrey spins his tires, jumps out a little sideways. Devin Borden sees what's happening and goes around the top just to avoid so he doesn't run over Linton, in my opinion. I don't think Borden was trying to jump anything. Linton was already so far behind, spins the tires, Jeff Halligan's right rear, and Linton Jeffrey's left front and make contact. How does Jeff Halligan know where Linton Jeffrey is? He's behind him at that point. He's not throwing a slider. Jeff Halligan's car isn't all stepped out sideways. Guess whose car is? Tell me. Linton Jeffrey's. He fucked up. Spun the tires and wrecked the field. And I think Cameron Syke, I talked to you at BAPS or Lincoln on Sunday. You're wrong. You called it wrong on your post. Jeff Halligan didn't do anything wrong, in my opinion. And I'm not playing favorites because I don't have favorites here.
Man, I said the same exact thing. And Linton Jeffrey's a nice guy, and he's just having such a tough go of it this year in that 39 Tron car. And I said the same exact thing. When Williamson comes over, is Tron going to have any cars left for the guy? Just because it's been like they haven't just been wrecks or like they've been tough wrecks. You know what I mean?
Race cars.
Yeah.
So feel bad for all the other cars that got piled up in that because it shouldn't be happening. And I think Linton Jeffrey, in my honest opinion, has kind of been a disaster. Now, I don't know the Williams Grove Macri thing. That may have just been not on Linton, but listen, he's torn up race cars every time he's been into the goddamn race car. Like every time he's been in a race car, his fault or not, he's finding trouble. And this time he wrecks in front of the whole damn field. Borden didn't jump that start. Borden saw what was happening. Good on Devin, to be honest, and he didn't gain an advantage. But I don't blame him for doing what he did because Linton spun the tires so damn hard. Where was Borden going to go? Stack up behind him and get run over? I don't blame him. Now, again, maybe I need to watch it 10 more times to have my opinion changed, but my opinion stands. I've seen it enough, in my opinion, from where I saw it. Jeff Halligan's leader of that feature drives off the corner straight. What is he supposed to do? He didn't drive him up across the racetrack. Linton Jeffrey spun the tires and had the left front down, right rear out. Well, if you start the race right and you drive off straight, you come down the front stretch up against the wall.
Yeah,
that's what you're supposed to do on the outside row. So
yeah,
I just see it differently than some.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you. I'm more on the train of it's Linton's fault, but it just looked like it did look a little bit like Halligan came up a little bit, maybe like half a lane up. But again, he's the starter. He's the leader. You know what I mean? And
he's the control car. He gets to
he's
go.
The control car. It's not like he came all the way up across the track. He just, a little bit. And it looks worse on flow than I think that it actually was because, again, they're starting the race. He's the leader. He's bringing them to green, so just tough deal. I mean, it's just a lot of cars got torn up. Just
unnecessary. Didn't need to happen. It was a mistake. Yeah. And anything else from Port, Jimmy, before I move on, because I'm pissed off about the next one too.
Taking a look at the rundown here. Halligan stays up there in third. Billy Dietrich, man, top 5. Ran really well all day
Finally
long.
Shakes the bad luck bug for a day, at least.
Lance DeWeese ran well. He got himself Danny started 11th and Lance started 12th, and on a rubber down racetrack. Now, like I said, it was a little racy in the beginning because there was a top, but about 10 laps in, it just went right down to the bottom. Jake Karkland he keeps opening my eyes He did last year, but now in that 35 car, man, he looks really good. He's going to be a guy that's going to win some races. And Chase Dietz in the ones in the Zemco car, it looked really, really good. He won his heat by a mile, it felt like, and he ran really well. Lucas Wolf with the solid run. Logan Wagner looked good in the 69K. And then, like I said, down towards the bottom here, you had, Linton Jeffrey, Gerard McIntyre, Corey Day. They were all DNF from that first wreck. Dylan Norris, something must have been wrong with his car because he tagged the rear. He was supposed to start up further, but he tagged the rear and just was lagging back on the start, and he was just going to start and park. Who else? Freddie Raymer looked really good. He in his heat race. I believe he won his heat race. Looked really, really good. I thought, oh wow, this is the race that Freddie's going to look good in, and I think he had a tire go down, I believe.
He had a tire. He was the first one with a tire.
Yeah, so that was a bummer for him. He was running up there as well. So overall, entertaining race. I think we're starting. It kind of there's going to be a couple names to watch out for. I think here in the 410 class at Port Royal. I think like Carkland's won. Derek Houck looked good. And there's times last year where he looked really good. Cody Lehman looked really good. So, and Justin Whittle had to fight his way from the B main and got himself a decent finish. So,
Justin Whittle had a good bounce back weekend. To be honest, he had a good race at Lincoln. Good, cars unscathed. He's already had some issues this season a little bit with whether it's mechanical or some accidents. So, good to see Whittle have a good two race weekend, put back to back, and read that article a little bit today and. Good for him for sure. Like Justin a lot.
And just it was just nice to see Port actually race. I know the track conditions didn't turn out the greatest, but honestly, the heats were good. It was just nice to be there. It wasn't bad. It wasn't that cold. At the beginning of the day, like before they even had cars on the track, I'm like, it's a little cold. But that sun started to come out. It felt good. From Brandon here, glad to see Mike Wagner back. Yes, he was. Him and Logan were running. Was it in their heat? Or was it in the feature? At one point, man, he threw a move on Logan. It was like a fuck you move on him.
Yeah, I'm still here, bro. He said, I'm still here.
Yeah,
I ain't going nowhere.
Awesome. Just looked like a lot of fun for them. So, so we'll see. And then the 305s, I didn't stick around for them. Ken Duke won. I think Ken Duke won the main race. And then I think Arnold won the Founders race, which I think gets him automatically. Not only was it extra money, but it also gets him qualified in the next year's race, which will be this year's race actually, because this was the 2023 version. So really cool Port Royal to hold up their end of the bargain. They did it twice now. They rescheduled the 305 race from last year. They did the short track race, the modified race.
Right.
So that's good on them to do that because you don't necessarily have to do that. You could just cancel it and be like, all right, we'll come back next year. No, they're going to do it twice. You know what I mean? They're gonna run them both. So good on them. And hopefully they get some better weather and could get some more racing in here.
Yeah, no doubt.
So you want to talk about Lincoln and their starts?
Yeah, listen, this race wasn't streamed. I was there, so I know what I witnessed, and it was in the back of my mind. And then I saw some social media posts by Billy Dietrich and Jimmy. I don't know if in the background you can find his social media post. Whether I'm pretty sure it was Facebook, but maybe it was on X. I don't know. Maybe Billy's in here. Damn, it would be cool if Billy could call in. Anyway, he's probably busy. But Billy Dietrich's heat race. Billy timed well, started on the pole of his heat. And I'm standing like 3/4 of the way down the front stretch, and Billy does not enter turn one. Yeah, Facebook. Yeah. See if you can find this.
I'm looking.
Billy does not enter turn one with the lead of a heat race. And I believe it was Emerson Axum on the front row with him, if I recall. And if I get any of this wrong, just blame the shout out Matt Henniger and the Wilderness whiskey. It's a chocolate orange. I don't know. Shit. I've had about a gallon of it tonight.
Sorry.
I don't know if it's Billy Dietrich Racing or under Billy Dietrich or it was Heather. It's hard to tell sometimes. Anyway, Emerson Axum gets to turn one. And from my perspective, where I from what I watched, it felt like Emerson Axum came out to turn 4 with the lead, and he's not the pole sitter. So Billy made mention that he kind of got screwed by no call this time, not a call, but no call. There you go. Billy Dietrich Racing. Try that one, Jimmy.
What am I looking at? I don't see anything.
Maybe he took it down.
Maybe.
Which is
it
unfortunate.
In the comments or
no, it was a post. Definitely a post that said, we kind of typical Lincoln Speedway got screwed out of something about a restart. I saw it after the heat while I was still at the racetrack. I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, it was definitely on Facebook. Billy Dietrich Racing. I don't know if it's still there or not, but that's where it was.
I don't think it's now. But either way, obviously this is the opposite of what's been happening, where he wasn't called for a jump, but no call was made. So now the tables have turned where we got all these jump starts. We changed the rule or the warning to the penalty. Now we have a start line that's different. Billy's on the pole and feels like he got screwed out of a start. But the problem here really lies that Billy didn't even finish second in that race. He finished third, fourth, or fifth. I don't even remember in that heat. Started 17th, 19th in the A. Went from the pole of a feature or pole of a heat to starting 19th in an A main. Billy, I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize in advance. You may have gotten screwed out of that start, but if you finish second in the heat, where do you start? Not fourth or fifth or wherever you finished in the heat. I love you, Billy. I love you. But yes, the start may be f***ed up and clean air mattered. But in second place, you have as good a clean air as third place and fourth place. Maybe I missed something else.
That's what I was going to say. I can't wait. I can't wait till he gets the video out so we can kind of see it from his GoPro.
I'm happy to be wrong on anything I'm saying, but if the jump is wrong, I'm with you.
That's what I was going to say.
100% right. And if the clean air, if your car wasn't set up right, and you absolutely needed clean air to win that heat race, I blame you for being pissed. But I believe you got to turn 1 in second, not side by side in second, and lost second and lost third, I think, to start 19th in the A main. So,
I don't know. It's just so many.
Again, not being critical, car might not have been perfect. And maybe clean air makes it really easier to finish in the pole, to finish in that. And if you get any dirty air, maybe the car was, the issues were magnified. But he got screwed probably. And I probably agree, because you think the pole sitter, the way these starts, you'd at least get to the start-finish line side by side. They weren't. Emerson Axum already had to lead by the start-finish line. And the start line at Lincoln now is further out. So closer to the start finish. So I don't know. Yeah, there you go, Brent. It looked like he held back expecting yellow to come out. So, but why would you do that? I guess, and we've seen it happen though before, right? Where you feel like a start's good, but the guy who was supposed to be the control car stops, slows down, makes it obvious, and they throw the yellow. He tried to do that to get a yellow, maybe, and that's why he ended up back further in the heat than he should have.
To me, it's just sounding like there's just so many issues with starts for some reason that everybody's gun shy. You're probably in Billy's defense is he probably doesn't feel like he's getting a fair shake on any of these. So
right, because so far, no matter what,
if he could get a fair deal on some of these, who knows where he could finish? Yeah, he could have finished second. He fell back to third and fourth, but if you don't feel like you're being done right from the beginning, then the fuck is the point?
It sounds like, to me, from what I was reading from what their videos, back to the Danny thing, opening Grove opener, again, it's the same person doing something that they are not benefiting from, and it feels personal now. And I think that whole camp is trying to maintain professionalism, but also get it resolved.
Yeah,
and
somebody's got to reach an olive branch out, and somebody else has got to grab it, and they got to figure this out. Because
it wasn't just his comments that were obviously going to be in favor of him. I've seen other comments about that were also kind of saying what he said on his channel, or his Facebook rather, on that post. So it's not like it was just his fans all there doing what fans do. It wasn't. It's more than that. So I didn't see it. I wasn't there. Just going off, obviously, their social media and other people's social media. It felt like, again, here we go again.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
been a big topic this year, but it's been a topic in the past too. So
Just
like
not
before
just
this
not
year,
week to week to
not
week.
not
like,
every week, but it's been a topic in the past. So I just think it's starting to really snowball out of control, where somebody's got to get control of this, and we got to figure something out.
So the Grove opener was March 17th. So this is probably the third straight week where one of them has gotten, at least to them, has felt like they got screwed in some way by the same person. I don't know. I don't know how true it is. It's just that's their opinion of it.
Yeah, and I think what puts this even like makes it a bigger deal is it's been hard to pass in these heat races at these tracks. The tracks have been narrow. It's hard to pass. You go into turn 1 second, you finish second or worse. You go into turn 1 with the lead, you win the heat race. Like it's magnified when you feel you're on either end of this, whether you are the pole sitter and got screwed or you're in second place and you got called for a jump. I don't see a winning scenario either way if you didn't go out there and win your heat race, right? I'm sure Emerson Axum has no complaints.
Yeah.
No.
Like what's he going to complain about? He won the damn heat race, right?
Right. So I think the complaint from race fans should be get the call right, whatever that call is.
Yeah.
If Billy spins the wheels like Linton Jeffrey and Axum gets to take off turn 1, then whatever. That's the way it is.
Yeah, but they got to make the call. They got to make that call on the fly.
But I'm saying, I understand that.
Some
But
human
it's
has to make a call and say they spun the
job.
tires so it looks different than it should have. You want to be that guy?
At this
I didn't
point,
make
however, like
I didn't make the
be consistent with it.
Listen, my opinion wasn't formed on Linton Jeffrey after watching it one time.
No,
those race control people have one time.
Yeah,
just be consistent with it.
But
that's
but
where it feels like it's not being consistent.
But
it's subjective. There's no machine that's going to say this, right?
The TSMT data out. See who rolls first.
Yeah, NASCAR can't even do it. Why would we expect anyone right here to be able to do it? So.
Right, at the very top levels. So, like, I don't know, man. This isn't new. I just feel like it's the topic of the spring, right? It's the topic of the spring in Central PA right now. It's not new. It's never going to go away. It's just what we're talking about right now. I think Billy was on the losing end again.
I think you kind of hit on something though. Like if I was doing it, the leader fires the line. If it's not painfully obvious that somebody went early, you don't do anything about it. Like opening at Williams Grove, that was our take there. If they're going and let it go. You could I don't know. That's how I would do it.
So Tyler brings up a good point here. Tyler Borden called jump on the start. He started third. You know why they did that? Because they're watching his ass. Because he jumps every start at every track at every position he starts in.
Just not Port Royal whenever Linton Jeffrey was crashing. Same move though.
But I don't believe he was trying to jump that one. I truly don't.
I didn't watch that one either.
He can pull out behind Linton. He's going to end up behind him on the front stretch. He could pull out behind him, put a little air on the front wing. We all know how this works in this game. Like, he wasn't trying to jump that start. Linton just fucked up the start and spun the tires. So it made it look like Borden got an advantage. Watch that restart. Look how far Halligan pulls out in front of Linton. Linton screwed up. It's not Borden jumping. Borden started 13th at Lincoln. They called the start back. Why? Because everybody's eyes are on Borden because of what he's been doing all season and last season.
Has he been doing that Williams Grove all year too? Did he get called for like 2 of them?
Well, he did it once this year, but a red came out, but they still moved him back because I'm telling you, I was standing 3 and 4, and I love Devin, and I love that team. But he restarted in the back, and he even had 4 cars pass by the time they exited 4 from the back of the field. It wasn't even. It was like what's going on here?
Good on him though, because if they don't call it, he just picked up 4 spots.
Yeah.
So like, make him make a call. I get it. Just same thing.
Force their hand.
Well,
hey,
when you get 24 guys doing that, or if he gets to that point, that's when you get these shit starts and you get
Right.
So
somebody
you got to have some order here.
Something needs to happen, right?
Somebody gets aggressive somewhere. Gets aggressive, not make a mistake, but gets aggressive, doing something they shouldn't, wreck the field, and then they're an asshole. So the eyes are on Devin now on the way these starts have gone. And listen, I don't believe Port was a jump, but the eyeballs are on Devin because it's been a topic lately, right? Because he has been doing it. It's been a little bit hidden because he hasn't done it in the first 2 rows.
The best part's when he starts to pull next time and doesn't take off in a hurry, and you're like, I called for a jump. That'd be funny. It'd be such a big brain move.
If he's the full sitter, he's the control car.
No,
and by the way, Devin Borden could win 5+ races at Port Royal this year.
I can see
I'm just saying.
Oh shit.
He's gonna be. I think once they hit their stride, everywhere they're gonna be good everywhere.
Tony,
Really.
you can't control a 2-wide start. Give me that crap. You can't control a 2-wide start.
Put starters in them. Do standing starts.
Just
Like
pave the
F1.
tracks.
All
Whatever.
right, Kyle Larson. Put starters in sprint cars. Okay, Larson.
As they call it, they're called sportsmen's.
All right, are we done? Is this it? I'm tired.
No, we got a little bit more, man.
right,
we
let's
got
go.
World of Outlaws to recap real quick. Let's go Friday night. David Gravel at 80. Was it 83 Speedway?
81, 83, 87, 85,
80 something Speedway. Good race. Donnie Schatz 5th. Chase Randall plus 18 got himself up to 6th. Gio Scelzi also plus 16. Anthony Macri out there looking good, 13th. He made the trip out to run with the Outlaws, and then he's going to be running with High Limit here this upcoming weekend. But David Gravel, good weekend for him. Sheldon Hodgshield, he was leading.
Hit a lap car. Crashed.
Yes, hit the lap car and spun. I think it was Chris Wyndham that he hit. Nos on Nos crime.
Sounds right.
Nos party.
So good weekend for David Gravel, because then also on Saturday night he finishes 2nd to Sheldon Hodgshield, which good weekend overall for Sheldon too. Just didn't get the results, but good points night for Gravel. Giovanni Scelzi in 3rd. This one was highlighted by the Jacob Allen. Jacob Allen was leading, or was running up there. Maybe he wasn't leading, but he was up there.
Catching the leaders. He was running the leaders.
He was catching the leaders. And then got tangled up with Gio Scelzi. Now, this boiled over today on social media. Jacob Allen made took a picture of his axle or something.
Front end, the front end.
His front end. And thank you, Tyler. It was US 36. I don't know why I thought it was 83. US 36. They go to so many tracks that are just named after whatever highway they're on. It's ridiculous. Saturday was at Arrowhead, and that was also the Jason Johnson Classic. Back to today. Jacob Allen takes a picture and says, "Hey, if you want to come over, Gio, you can come over and help me fix this." Joking around. And then Gio comes back and says, "Hey, if you're going to talk shit, tag me in it." And Jacob's like, no, you looks like you already saw it. And he called him Toucan Sam, which is the great, forget hot sauce. Giovanni Scelzi is now Toucan Sam. You cannot call him
Toucan Scelzi, baby.
Toucan Scelzi, right? So Gio comes back and says, maybe don't get burnt out again this year. And that's kind of a low blow. Gio's really taking this. Jacob, you could tell, is just trying to have fun with it, but he's probably still pissed off. Hey, fuck you. Ruin my race, but hey, I'm trying to play around with it, not being that nasty about it. And then it seems like Gio just couldn't take the joke and went over the top a little bit. So interesting.
How about you think he gets booed when he comes to PA now?
Absolutely.
Because it just kind of seems like one of those things when he comes to PA, he's just going to get booed like a mother.
Yeah, and he deserves it, man. There's this. Jacob was having fun. He
was taking a shot, but it's his right.
He was taking a shot, but he wasn't getting nasty with it. And he called him Toucan Sam, but that's funny, man. Not. and I don't think it's that out of bounds either for Gio to maybe take a shot at Jacob, but just the fact that he's if you're gonna talk shit, make sure you tag me in it. And it's well, obviously you saw it, and that's what Jacob's point was. So I just think it was a little soft, but it is cool. It made our Monday interesting here. And kind of maybe, I feel like it kind of stokes the fire a little bit, maybe on the High Limit World of Outlaw kind of rivalry that continues to develop, because this is a guy from each series now. Jacob left World of Outlaws now with High Limit. Maybe that's part of it. I doubt it's part of it. I just think it's more of a personal thing between them two, but I think it adds to that lore.
Sure. Sounds great.
What are your thoughts on it?
Gio's a bitch.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. He's just going to get booed, and I'm here for it.
I like Gio. I just don't think he did well in this battle, to be honest with you. I think he got outwitted. I think he lost. I think
he has a more race car.
He kind of looks a little, I don't know, he kind of looks like a little bitch. And listen, I'd be happy to say it was Jacob if it was the other way around, but Gio kind of looks like a little bitch here. I didn't have favorites going in. if it was the other flipped way around, I don't mind calling Jacob a bitch. I'll tell him when they're fucking Williams Grove when they get here in May. I don't
I
give
can't
a fuck.
wait till
Like,
Gio finds this in about 12 hours, but you should have tagged me, bro.
I'll fucking tag him. He's fucking
He's got
5'10",
his own
185
podcast
fucking
and
pound
stuff,
ass. Like, I'll tell you in the fucking pits, my guy. You're a little bitch about
Jay-Z
it.
is
Kinda.
fired up in the chat.
A little bitch about it a little bit here. So, no, listen, I don't love the outcome either way. I think Jacob was pretty lighthearted about it. I'll be honest with the original
I thought so.
post.
Right?
It felt like a Denny Hamlin, Marcus Smith SMI fucking thing where it went personal real fast.
Right.
Like I don't know why it had to be that way. It's just unnecessary all the way
All
around.
I know
to
is
be honest.
we need some graphic designers out there to make Gio's car into a
Put a
Fruit
big
Loops
toucan on the
car
side of
and
the
have
wing.
Toucan Sam sitting in the car. We need to make them T-shirts for when he comes to PA.
I got people.
We need to make that happen. I think we can make that happen. Fruit Loops car with the 18, Toucan Sam in the passenger seat.
Toucan Selzy, driver name.
Toucan Selzy, and
spark
let's
up
pass them out when the Outlaws come to PA.
It's gonna spark the posse outlaw feud, just like we always wanted.
I'm in. Just
let's do it.
Fuel on that
Other
fucking
note,
fire, my guy.
just we don't forget the last thing of the weekend. Brett Marks
won
Friday
down in Texas Motor Speedway with Power Eye. They only raced Friday.
Friday night.
Yeah, they got winded out again on Saturday or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So yeah, wins Friday, 4,000 to win, but good tune up because High Limit there goes there.
High Limit does go there this weekend. So looking upcoming this week, High Limit's Tuesday show at
Riverside.
Riverside got pushed back to the end of the month because of weather, but they still have a 3-race weekend coming up. They go to Texarkana Friday. They go to Texas that Brent just won at on Saturday, and then they go to RPM Speedway on Sunday. That's all down in that Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma area shit down there. So should be interesting to watch, see High Limit actually get kicked off here. World of Outlaws go to I-55, which is always fun. Be interesting to see what kind of car splits happen there because
just give Sheldon the victory lane and the fucking check. Just move
probably.
on.
It'll be interesting to say, look, not that there was a ton of High Limit guys that were, I mean, there's some, but there wasn't like a ton of High Limit guys that were running the Outlaws. But the Outlaws were definitely benefiting with no High Limit running because, in the Midwest there because they were getting about 40 cars every night, which is great. But I'm interested to see how that car count kind of develops here. Now that this feels like the real kickoff. Like we're really starting to get into the bones of the season here, where you got both, big events this weekend. And here in PA, we got another triple header weekend. We got Williams Grove Friday night. You got 410s, USAC East Coast, and 305s. 3-division show. It's a great show. If weather's looking iffy, but if they do get it in, make sure you get there. Awesome show. That will also go to Lincoln on Saturday without the 305s. They'll have USAC East Coast and 410s. Port Royal, they got 410s. They'll have super late models running in Australian Pursuit, and they'll have limited late models. And 410s are running group time trials on Saturday at Port Royal, so that's good. BAPS will have their like a regular show on Saturday night. Super Sportsman,
Legends, Extreme
Stocks. Then Sunday, like we were already talking, you guys heard us talking about before, you got 410s. We got Wingless Sportsman, Brett Perigo. And then we got the late models where we'll hopefully see, maybe we'll see 2 T2T cards in Victory Lane. And maybe 3
I don't know.
On Sunday.
Kyle Keene, figure it out, man.
Brett Strickler.
Brett Strickler.
And Brett Strickler.
So definitely a lot to go on. Hopefully the weather holds out. It's looking pretty decent. It looked like Friday looked a little wet, and then depending on timing, maybe a little bit Sunday. But we'll see. It changes every day, but definitely a lot warmer. It definitely feels like we turned a corner with weather here. It's gonna be like 70 all week. So BAPS also moved up their testing to tomorrow night. If anybody was gonna go to that from Wednesday to tomorrow night.
Yeah, listen, I doubt we have any fans listening to this show that have never been to a race. I doubt it. But if you want to go see what racing is, what dirt track racing is, free. Go to BAPS Motor Speedway, York Haven, Pennsylvania, right off the Newberrytown exit of Route 83, south of Harrisburg, between Harrisburg and York. It's free admission. Go watch some cars test. See what dirt track racing is all about. You'll see sprint cars. You'll see legends. You'll see street stocks. You'll see what. You'll see lots of different cars. So if you're around that area, start at 6 o'clock. There's green flag. They run a few. They'll run every division, and then they'll recycle around again, time or two. So check it out at BAPS, free admission for fans. They do have a concession stand open, at least one of them. Grab dinner, grab some cheap food, and watch some race cars.
Tyler Koenig says Lincoln will also be on Flow on Saturday, which is a big W because can't get to Lincoln, but I definitely want to check out because of USAC.
I don't know if I'll have signal.
Shit. Yeah, I'll be at Port on Saturday. That's my plan. Port on Saturday, BAPS on Sunday.
BAPS on Sunday.
Depending on work and weather, maybe I go to Williams Grove Friday and make it a triple.
Hi, Aunt.
Huh?
I'm just saying hi to Aunt. Hey.
Cool. Oh yeah.
Good story.
Brandon,
Jay-Z,
you're going to Path on Saturday and then BAPS on Sunday?
Let me address this Legends question.
Oh no.
All right, listen, Brandon. Okay. I'm a Gene Latta guy. I like Gene Latta. I know they sponsor the Legends. I know the general manager of Gene Latta. I know a couple salespeople at Gene Latta. I like those guys. So I'll pay attention. But I got to be honest with you, man. Any place bigger than Lincoln is tough to watch. And Lincoln is tough to watch sometimes. I've seen some good racing in Lincoln over the years, but Path Valley, small tracks are definitely where I think those cars do the best. You get a track bigger than that, man, it's tough. It's tough to watch.
They're from Clinton County.
Yeah, like that makes sense, right? So do I like Legends? No, I don't go seeking Legends out to please be like, bro, where are they racing? I got to go there. No. But again, I'm not going to completely be like, man, I can't go watch them. So I like the Gene Latta guys for sure. I'm an auto business guy. I'm in the auto business a little bit. So Fringe, I know a couple people that work at that guy, and they support Lincoln Speedway. They support the Legends division. So yes and no, if that makes sense. I'd love to drive one. I think they'd be fun. I think they look like fun, except I'm old and out of shape and can't drive a race car. But other than that, they look like a good time.
They do look like fun.
So for me, Friday night's up in the air. I'm not going to be completely heartbroken if it rains out. Friday, we'll get closer to the weekend. We'll see what happens. Looks like I'm committed to Path Valley Saturday. Be the photographer for Path to fill in. And Sunday, you will see my ass at BAPS. Maybe some kegs and eggs, baby. We'll have some beer and eggs on Sunday morning. So bright and early Sunday morning. My birthday is coming up this week. It's my birthday week. So there's always a 410. Thanks, man. There's always a 410 race at BAPS during my week, either side of my birthday weekend. So I always try to make that sort of like a, little birthday trip up to BAPS. So looking forward to it.
Chris, what's your plans for the weekend?
Probably just BAPS. Depending on the growth, depending on the kiddo, we'll see how that shakes out. But otherwise, BAPS for all the fun.
Tyler says he's going Grove on Friday and Grandview on Saturday. You and those modifieds, man.
Hey, let him live his happy life.
That's fine. Maybe, cool. Grandview's a fun time.
They could be real modifieds, though. Dave Smelter.
Grove and BAPS. Let's go.
Nice. Good mix. I like that. Taking Saturday night off. Good break in between. Get a little nappy in on Saturday. I like it.
And then we're coming up to some bigger races here towards the end of the month. We start getting into getting closer to Weikert. And then from there, it really feels like we got some fun stuff going on. So next weekend, I can't wait either for Sealands Grove opener. That's going to be
listen. There's even some before we even get rolling into like May and Outlaw stuff. We have the you just talked about the Sealands Grove race coming up, the Kaufman coming up. We're going to have the Lincoln Ashley Capetta's deal. What's that called?
Sterner.
Yep. 2 weeks, 20,000 to win.
Memorial makeup coming up. 20 grand to win?
Yeah, it's 20 grand.
You know what? We're gonna have Ashley come on. We're gonna reach out to her this week. Maybe have her come back on see if she spent all winter raising more money. It might be $100,000 to win. I don't know. I don't know. She said all damn winter. So maybe we'll get Ashley back on. Maybe we'll get Ashley back on, talk about the Sterner a little bit. That's coming up here in April. That's what, 12 days away? 20th, I think.
April 20th. Yep. I got
April 20th. So there's some big things coming up here going on. So April isn't without some big shows.
God
and then we get into May.
God damn it, Dunny. Every time. Every time this motherfucker is on Smoko or whatever, and he has to come in and start talking about my appearance. You know what, Dunn? Good day, mate. That's what I'm going to go with that. Our buddy from Australia, Craig Dunn.
This show is a marathon. It might end before next week's show.
Brandon Zirk said, "How Jimmy? How comes you said no fish from Saturday? No luck or flooded out? I'm not the fisherman. That's Chris.
And both. No fish because we were flooded out in the creeks. And I had a late start. I didn't get out until almost 5:30. Just a couple hours. Give it a whirl.
Wow, you wasted your entire day away working and not fishing. Wow. Okay, so anyway, Steph, happy birthday.
Steph and Dave. They both have their birthdays coming up.
Let's go. Happy birthday, guys. Happy birthday, folks. We appreciate you all tuning in this late. It's 10:44 p.m. We are 2.5 hours in. We're going to fill up Ryan Smith, the real Ryan Smith. We're going to fill up his entire day with this podcast when this comes out on audio tomorrow. So you're welcome, Ryan. Shout out to you, buddy. Good seeing you yesterday at Lincoln. I'm sure we'll see you again this weekend.
So
this was a ton of fun. I'm glad that we got both Matt back on, and we were a little late getting on because he was trying to get. if you watched his
interview, was at his neighbor's house. He went to the Xfinity Mobile. He was at Xfinity's headquarters for that because he can't get internet apparently. So he drove to the Xfinity headquarters. Yeah,
we appreciate the effort for Matt, and last our interview with him last year was good, but it was we had some technical difficulties there again. So it was good to have nice, clear picture of Matt and have a good conversation with him. Also great to have Jake on, learning more about late models. Awesome dude. Love what he's doing. Definitely go and support those classes. Those guys are the ones that really drive everything.
Yeah. We got to upgrade him from tarps to real covers to cover those tire wheel wells. We can't just have Jake using tarps. We got to upgrade him. So support Jake and his team and what he's doing. And man, I don't know him that well, but what I watched Saturday seems like an up-and-coming driver talent. Just needs the support. So support where Jake's going. I'm it's going to work out great to support him on Saturday at Path Valley and his efforts, and hopefully he wins and get a cool victory lane picture, whatever the case may be. So, man, it's been fun getting to know some of these guys we don't know, and who knows what we'll talk to next week. What do you think? We'll talk to some winners next week.
You got
Troy Rome
on Thursday.
Hell of an effort Saturday night.
Yep. I guess he had speed, fell back, had a little bit of an incident, but ended up driving back to fifth. It's going to be fun getting to know him. I've seen him in the pits. He actually usually parks right next to the Ruts boys. So I've seen him work. I'm intrigued. I'm going to learn a lot and excited for it. 7 o'clock Thursday with our buddy Tony. Going to have a good time.
Definitely check out their own podcast. You can find it on T2T. You can find it. Ran into somebody at Port on Saturday that said that it wasn't coming up on the Turn 2 Terribles podcast Facebook page. So we're going to have to double check that. But I'm pretty sure it's been coming up every Thursday.
Fix your shit. It's not us. Fix your shit, not me. You must live with Matt Campbell. You must live in Matt Campbell's house. You don't have internet. You probably don't know we exist.
If you can't find it on our page, definitely go check out the Super Sportsman page or Pager Track and Creative. They'll be on there as well.
And while you're there, and follow those pages too. They help us a bunch. So,
also do want to give a quick shout out to everybody. It's been awesome seeing this grow. We did hit 1,000 followers finally, so we really appreciate it. Everybody that's been coming in, joining us, watching us,
finding us at the track. That's the coolest.
Finding us at the track has been awesome. It's really cool. So, again, wonderful Monday night. Great long show, but it was worth it. We will be back next week with another episode, and we will see you at the track this weekend.